What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology Retold action, spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Set. His name is Kavoth. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Loki. His name is El Matador. The map is Marsh, ladies and gentlemen. This is Boit's Backyard Bash. A little bit of fun here for your Sunday. This is the time of the week that I have always forever loved. I love, you have nothing on in the morning, you just wait, you just hang around, have some fun all day, and you get to sit down in the evening and enjoy some Age of Mythology. So we're bringing it back. This goes all the way back to like 2012 or something with Army Corps' Sunday Classic, where he used to challenge another top player to a really, really fun game of Age of Mythology, and they would duke it out to see who was actually the GOAT at the time. Lots of fun games happened back then, and we've continued that tradition through ever since. But today, we've got ourselves an incredible matchup here, ladies and gentlemen. Kavoth, he's had some ridiculous success in tournaments recently and on the ranked ladder, being ranked #1 for quite some time. But when it comes down to these tournament games, it's that rank on the ladder, it doesn't really equate to whether or not you're going to be doing well in a tournament. A lot of players say it, but in all honesty, the reason why this rank 1 doesn't really translate to huge success in the tournament, so it does to some degree. We see Recon, Rappel going very far in the tournaments, but the big reason is that you have to force yourself to not play the OP gods in ranked to really level yourself up and be ready for those tournament games, because you have to be able to play all 13 gods to have success. Now, El Matador, I know he's been grinded. I know he's a really, really strong player. He's got some serious skills underneath his belt as well. And he's also taken games off some really, really strong players, so I'm sure just weren't ready for that level that he's going to be bringing. So I'm excited to see what he can pull here against Kavoth. It's not going to be an easy matchup in the slightest. Relics in the center of the map here, we do have ourselves the Ankh of Ra with the 0.05 favor trickle rate there. Really, really nice there for the Loki who will be wanting to make a whole bunch of trolls. Ulla's bow here as well. This one is gigantic for both players, but more so for the Loki if he wants to be making those throwing axemen, because it means he can stay a little bit further out of range of those slingers and deal with spearmen, axemen a little bit easier. Pelt of Argus here, not the most useful, but line of sight is king in Age of Mythology. Canopic Jar Imseti here is going to be that infantry train time reduction. Another really great relic for Loki. Not that important for the set, but it can be. Anything is a help. All these relics are a help. Do we see anything else? We've got that Fetters of Fenrir over here going to be boosting the villager damage. This one here is honestly underrated, especially for Norse dwarves. Just in the fact they've got a little bit more HP than the normal villagers. And you're going to be wanting to use those a lot of the time to kind of survive any sort of gold star pushes by Egyptian players. Meanwhile, I've also got the Bridle of Pegasus over here as well. This is going to be a little bit of the scouting shenanigans and all the other good stuff. Houses coming up on this spot to just protect that gold mine over here as the villagers are going to come over onto the wood. 4 villagers on wood here for Kavoth, as El Matador is choosing to go through 4 city. This one's unlocking the troll, unlocking the healing spring. No surprises. Undermine. It's God. You can pick it in this matchup. But honestly, the 4 city is just going to be giving a lot more utility. Ptah, on the other hand, personally, I think you can go both. Personally, I think you can go for Anubis. I think you can go for Ptah. I don't think it's that big of a deal. The big advantage of Ptah is obviously shifting sands, which is going to allow you to basically dodge any big power spikes that the Norse player might have. So, for example, flaming weapons might come. You can shifting sands away from that, which does sometimes make you feel like maybe the Loki player against Ptah should be going for Njord over the flaming weapons, just because, like, well, at least if your opponent shifting sands away from the walking woods, you've still got them remaining. Nonetheless, we see double great hauls here for El Matador. Relics have been picked up already. He's got that Ulla's bow. He's got that Canopic Jar of Imseti. On the other side here, we do have that Fetters of Fenrir getting brought back. More relics coming through. Yes, they are. We've got El Matador now going to be grabbing that Pelt of Argus. Who got the big relic for favor regen. It looks like, not favor regen, favor generation here. Ankavara is in, as we do see a barracks coming now down for Kavoth. Really, honestly, no surprises here. He wants to make some axemen right off the bat. He's got 2 barracks down already. Lots of axemen, spearmen going to be coming through as the raiding cavalry trying to do a little bit of animation canceling here to get as much damage. He's dodging the spit of the Wadjet. What? That was a kind of insane there from El Matador. Vision coming through here for Kavoth to see a little bit of that main base over here. As Matador says, it's time to get cooking here. He drops the relic over here on this one, but Fetters of Fenrir, not that useful. Does lose a Herso, does lose a raiding cavalry. The Herso with 6 HP, going to be able to get back home here, and I'm sure he's going to be dropping Healing Spring at the moment. He's going to bring that one back and see what he can do where that's concerned. But so far, just defensive play here. Raiding cavalry going to poke in, get a little bit of idle time here. Every little bit counts as El Matador is getting frisky with it, with those raiding cavalry. Kavoth, on the other hand, is just sitting here being very, very nice and defensive. Another Wadjet coming out. You have to remember those 4 Wadjets. Only 1 monument down, however, for Kavoth. So he's not really pumping these out crazy fast, but there's already 3 of them as the raiding cavalry coming through for El Matador. He's going to see the house wall built up by Kavoth. Really, really nice defenses here, but the villagers on the wood line over here are very much open to raids for the time being, as we see a armory coming down as well. The raiding cavalry going to swing around onto the right side of the map here. He doesn't see this one. Does he have himself that next upgrade? No, he doesn't. Villagers getting taken down here. El Matador has been absolutely caught out as the Herser attempting to swing in to take out those Wadjets here. He's going on to 1. We'll be able to take that down very, very quickly, but a nice amount of micro there. As the Herser getting completely caught out, El Matador is now in a lot of trouble. The troll runs forward, gets a big throw in. Meanwhile, over onto this side here, we see some animals of set getting taken down as the villagers are ready to shank back. El Matador going to have to pull back home, but has the damage been done at this moment? I think it has. There's no excuse to being that far forward. I guess maybe you just lost a whole bunch of throwing axemen and maybe not too many villagers. There's only a tiny villager lead constructed right now for Kavoth, so it's not the biggest of deals, but losing these units, that's tough. He does have a really nice back gold mine, which we haven't really talked about. Still trying to get raids in onto the front with those raiding cavalry. As he moves off to the right side of the map, still looking for something to pick off. But Kavoth, he's playing set. His base, incredibly defended. He does not need to worry about anything at the moment. These animals of set that we're taking down as well, he's going to be able to eat them. They're not in amazing position, but no real worries here. He can throw down a granary. It's going to be completely fine. More raiding cavalry coming out for El Matador. And now he's going to be taken into medium cavalry. And he's going to get a little bit more oomph with those raids popping through, but still, where do you raid? He's obviously checking out those hippopotamus. The chicken over here is going to be a little bit of a weakness for Kavoth. I wouldn't mind seeing a wall get shot down here just to defend onto that position there. But El Matador now going to be starting to find his way in, and houses coming up still for Kavoth. That villager is open. Can El Matador spot this one? He still doesn't have that upgrade, I don't think. Eyes in the forest. This upgrade is so important for your raiding cavalry as he does charge forward. One villager going to be getting taken down. Great animation canceling. Not going to be letting those raiding cavalry get out of position there. Gets the villager, gets out. Every little bit counts onto this position. Boar of set checking out the gold mine over here. Villagers now onto that hunt onto this position as the dwarves will be making it over onto this spot, but you can see the army of Kavoth is setting up here for a Shifting Sands. 3 Wadjets and a whole bunch of units here. The Boar is taken out, but the Shifting Sands is in. El Matador's got to run. He's too slow on the retreat here. The Wadjet's going to get some huge damage done. Ox cart down. Dwarves pulling back into the main base here, but now Kavoth's god power is gone. He does not have that Shifting Sands for a significant amount of time here. It's 170 seconds of recharge time. The Thrown Axemen have got to wait. I don't see all too many Herser in villagers on this position here. They've got to be careful eating those hippopotamus because the Wadgets can come through and get a serious amount of damage done. El Matador is looking for some army kills over here, but Kavoth is playing a little bit too clean at the moment as El Matador wanders forward here. Oh, sorry. Here, Kavoth wanders forward into the main base, looking for villager kills. The army sitting underneath this healing spring, just waiting for raiding cavalry to come forward. Reinforcements onto this position do spot the dwarves coming forward, but the army is in, though we do have ourselves Nephthys coming through here as well. The army for Kavoth can probably take this fight. In all honesty, the Wadgets are just dealing so much DPS, and Kavoth, he's got no Hersir to worry about at the moment. Favor-wise, there's 59 favor in the bank here for El Matador. A nice counter to some degree would be making some of those trolls, but the big problem is that Kavoth is going to have ancestors coming through very, very shortly. He's at 98 population. He's retreating back. I'm not exactly sure if that's the best decision. He's given a lot of time over to El Matador. I wouldn't mind seeing a defensive wall here to retreat away from an ancestors or something like that. But we're not going to be seeing that just yet, as the food here for El Matador is still taking a long time to come up. He's not coming back onto those hippopotamus. It is an important thing here to get onto that hunt. If you don't have a hunt, you don't have kind of anything going for yourself in terms of food income. Meanwhile, over here we see Kavoth. Well, he's back onto those hippos, as basically El Matador, he needs to find some damage here, because this will be a big timing for him right now, as he's going to have that Nephthys. And I mean, Kavoth at this moment, he just says, I've done the dash, I've done the damage, I can pull back, and I'm going to be completely fine here, as trading a throw and axeman there for a couple of spearmen, trying to dodge those Wadgets onto the back. Ancestors gets dropped down, and El Matador is just going to be retreating away. Good force there from El Matador, but Kavoth, he's now going to be angling straight in onto this gold mine. He may have to retreat back up to here and start doing the rotations around with those units as medium infantry comes through. A little bit of a turnaround onto those minions here, as the minions are now going to be charging in to try and take out this gold mine, get a little bit of value, taking out some stray raiding cavalry. Meanwhile, we've got the transition into chariot archers coming through for Kavoth, the backbone, so to speak, of the Egyptian army. Very, very important to be making those in. El Matador gets pushed back, and he's going to be having to retreat all the way to the gold mine on the back. And I'm sure Kavoth is just going to say, I don't care about what you've got. I'm just going to walk up there. He can walk straight past this way and move in through here to grab onto that gold mine. There's still there's no gold in the bank right now. It looks like El Matador's plan here is spam units and take a great fight. But the problem with this is tech. The problem is mostly tech. You're going to have to deal with heavy spearmen. You're going to have to deal with heroic age Wadgets. That scorpion man is going to be a big deal. Chariot archers are going to be a big deal here. Houses coming through, and El Matador will have to be taking this fight moving forward. 3 Hersir onto the back here, targeting down those Wadgets. The Wadgets retreating away. Axemen getting peeled off of the front, but the raiding cavalry, with the help of those thrown Axemen, going to be doing some great damage. Great target fire onto the Axemen there from El Matador, as he looks like he might be able to hold this fight. It's very, very close, though. He doesn't have any heroes remaining, and the Wadgets are going to clean everything else up. Reinforcements now starting to come through. The population here for Kavoth is looking like it's going to be able to carry forward, and in that moment, El Matador taps out, and the first game of Boit's Backyard Bash goes to Kavoth here. Incredibly solid play. El Matador, I'm not sure exactly what happened on this front, but he did get caught out here, and this did matter. Those few amounts of unit losses, the attack on the front here, losing some Hersir, losing the Hersir on this fight while his raiding cavalry weren't there to help support. All of these things ended up mattering in a big way. It's the smallest of margins here for Loki to ride to be able to find wins in this matchup, but Kavoth executes beautifully here, and he's going to be moving on to the next game. If you guys are enjoying it and you're new here, definitely hit that follow button, hit the subscribe button, all the other good stuff. We'll get the next game going very, very shortly. Game number 2 is upon us. Gods have been chosen in the bottom of the map. Playing as Hades. Currently up 1-0. His name is Kavoth. His opponent today is El Matador, and he is going to be playing Zeus in the red color. Man, when you're playing these matchups, you go into that second game having dropped the first one. All you got to be thinking is, this game matters. Last game doesn't matter. You can't be going into this thinking, wow, I just played so terribly there. Not that El Matador did. He just got caught out a few too many times. He's going to have to bring his A game. He sends his scout forward, sees the villager over here, going to get a little bit of harass on. They're just being nice and annoying. But Kavoth with the smart passive stance command there keeps that villager from getting distracted all too much. Though I think that just works when you're building anyways. Nonetheless, both players on the same side to kick this one off. Hades versus Zeus here is an interesting matchup. You have a slight advantage as Zeus with the bolt. The most important thing to bolt, in my opinion, is going to be a stray Minotaur walking into your base, or you just got to be prepared for it with having an Ajax or an Achilles waiting there for it to walk in. That seems to be the very, very difficult thing to do. Alternatively, Jason, Heracles in your base is actually what I meant to say. Nonetheless, both players here picking the Greek Civ on this map, and the big unique thing of Anatolia is going to be this center gold here. There's lots of different gold mines in the center that you're going to have to be securing and keeping a big eye on. If you don't get that advantage and you lose the center, you can very quickly lose this game. So making sure that that's important, but there are going to be several keys to success here. You've got the underworld shenanigans that can come through where you can catch your opponent out of position. You got that bronze available for Zeus, which is really, really important in this matchup. But yeah, with that underworld, you can always just use that sort of as a shifting sands type idea, like the Egyptians do, to just dodge a big power spike like bronze and then just get out of there. Trade 1-for-1 is never a bad thing. And then you can come back with some advantages with that heroic age god. There's also access to the Argo here through Aphrodite, I believe. So if you're going to be wanting to deal with a whole bunch of Skylar, which are most likely going to come from the Zeus side of things, you can just get that Argo out and you can kind of just defend against those Skylar in a really, really easy way. Though you do have to be careful of the bolt. That's going to come through at some point. So if that hasn't already come through, you kind of haven't put enough pressure on, and an Argo will often take that bolt as well. But relics on the map over here, we've got that Scarab Pendant here, boosting some Siege Myth units and Siege Crush damage. Over here, we've got that Ring of Nibelung. Love this one. Gets an extra 0.5 gold a second. Every little bit of trickle always makes me feel good. Tale of Cerberus there is the Myth units getting a bit of recharged special time. And Rhea's Crown. This relic is kind of a big deal on this map. Just on the fact that you get that 10% reduction, you're also getting a little bit of favor generation, which isn't really that important. But more importantly is the cheaper town center, which means Kavoth, realistically here, if he picks that relic up, he could very simply go for like a mid-game town center or an early town center here and just kind of ignore the water. If El Matador wants to overcommit, he can just go 3 town centers on the land. Saving 10% on a town center is like saving, if you build 2 of them, it's like saving 140 resources or something like that. So it can be a big, big boost to your ability to kind of make it work, so to speak. But maybe it's not quite enough to move off of meta just for that relic. Nonetheless, we're going to be seeing these players gearing up right now. I've already got Kavoth up onto the left side of the map with lots of docks. This villager, low HP, Kavoth over here, and he does get that shank started, and Kavoth will have to retreat away. I don't know how much you want to chase this one, though. He's going to be going for it with the snare mechanic. You can chase the villager down. Meanwhile, the Katoskopos going to be charging over here, and it looks like Kavoth says, wow, I lose my villager. First blood drawn. El Matador with the lead. Both players opting in to Athena here. Slightly faster for Kavoth, but this is a really, really big deal. The thing is, though, that Kavoth at the moment, he could actually send a villager back up here and try and do exactly what El Matador did to him, as we see the Jason, though, coming through for El Matador to defend on this position. Like that play, the Katoskopos over here just going to be shanking each other, and Kavoth charges forward. He wants to take this villager out, but El Matador, he's going to be here with the Jason. It's not going to be a simple chase down and kill, though he might get it as the dock gets up, and the Jason is going to come forward here, and it's going to be lights out for this villager. when that upgrade comes in, as the Kavoth villager does get shanked down. The Jason is now ready. We see the Katoskopos is down. The Doc is not going to be finishing here. No, sir. Huge, huge advantage now cooking for El Matador. 2 villagers lost in the early game right now, and he's going to be immediately moving in to Trireme into Pentaconta, into Juggernauts. He wants to put the pressure on. He wants to use that APM, but we're seeing the same thing here for Kavoth as a defense. Ships, just a few of them, going to be coming in. This dock gets denied, but Kavoth does manage to get up a second dock on this side, though he hasn't got his fishing ships up here just yet, as the army is now starting to engage. The Navy, I should say, starting to engage over here. The Juggernaut's going to be attempting to get some return fire. More Pentaconta are going to be rowing in to help out, as the Pentaconta coming through for Kavoth as well. Those fishing ships sitting a little bit idly by, as the Pentaconta look like they're going to be able to take out that Juggernaut, deciding to retreat back. But a little bit of a pathing issue there for those ships, as they take a lot of damage on the retreat path. You can not heal these easily. You have to use restoration, which is a big, big costed god power there, as the Pentaconta, with the help of the Trireme, going to be big on this top side. Just a couple of Triremes sitting idly by there. El Matador could definitely get a little bit aggressive there with those Triremes, but at this moment, El Matador needs his Triremes out to deal with those Pentaconta. He's got those Juggernauts. Great focus fire micro. For those of you not really aware of how the Navy works, it's basically Juggernauts or siege ships beat archer ships, beat hammer ships, beat siege ships. So it's a bit of a rock, paper, scissors shenanigans, with Spock also in there with those myth units that start joining in the heroic age. As the Pentaconta charging forward, trying to take out that Juggernaut, does manage to do so, as the Triremes here, they'll be able to take out the Pentacontas very, very quickly. But there's just too much damage coming in. Achilles does get bolted down. The villager trying to repair the dock up, gets sniped down by that hammer ship. Beautiful play. Meanwhile, onto this position, the Kataskopos going to be targeting down that dock. Over here, we see the Minotaur still sitting idly by. And with that bolt being used, it's time for Kavoth to start thinking, where's my Minotaur? What am I doing with my Minotaur? And I don't know exactly where he's sent it at the moment. Maybe it's being picked off. Maybe it's sitting idle in his main base. It looks like he's not. I'm not exactly sure where it is. It might have been just sniped down by some Heracles or anything like that. Got a good question in the chat. Does Kavoth have Vaults of Erebus? He's getting it now. That's going to be another big, big boost to his economy coming through very, very shortly, as the army or the Navy coming in onto the top side to try and take Kavoth's top docks out. Kavoth, no reaction just yet, as all his focus is on to this bottom side of the water. This is the hardest Navy fight I've ever seen in Retold. Generally, we see players not going this hard onto it, but the beautiful focus fire there from El Matador, and he just pulls back. He now needs to get himself some extra damage done onto those Trireme here. It's going to be a challenging position to kind of push back here, but Kavoth, he has to keep investing into this one. So you could probably consider right now, if you're El Matador, to just give it up and then move elsewhere, as we see the restoration down for Kavoth. El Matador, he's going to be happy about this. Using restoration on the water, not that important when you're probably going to be losing it anyways, as he pulls back, turns around, and Kavoth, he's got to pull back again. He can't keep making his moves forward, though we see a big overcommitment now from El Matador. I liked the defensive play, but the Minotaur and the Navy up the top will be picking this one off. We still haven't gotten any ships coming through here, as it's looking like El Matador, he will be making a really, really big push onto this bottom side. Food is starting to tick up. This is big. This is where you really want to be getting to that next age. We see a whole bunch of hoplites coming through, however, for El Matador. Kavoth, on the other hand, he's clicked up through Aphrodite. So no hoplites, no land army, no nothing. Just straight to that heroic age. He's going to have Skylar out onto this bottom side for free, as the bottom docks here getting taken down. I want to see villagers moving up onto this spot, dropping docks down here. We already see very sneaky here from Kavoth. This is something he loves to do. He's always putting up this sneaky dock. If you're unaware of it, you haven't played Kavoth enough, but this is something he does all the time, and he's never going to just ignore the water for the rest of the game. He's always going to be trying to put sneaky docks up throughout the game to try and raid you down. But El Matador cleans this up, and we'll see if he checks out that bottom black position later or not. As the army, or the navy here, I keep saying, I mean, it's hard. Everything's army to me. As the navy of Kavoth and El Matador at a little bit of a standstill here, though. El Matador still trying to push forward, and we do see Apollo. We see Apollo here. I'm just a little bit surprised about this one. I like the idea of Apollo for Manticore. I like the idea of Apollo for Underworld. But in a map like Anatolia, where one big push can be basically the difference between winning and losing a game, I think it's really important to go for that Dionysus here. Though we see a whole bunch of Skylar coming through. And this is honestly completely fine. This is completely fine for El Matador. He's going to lose this water, but he's already got the top water secured for himself, and he's going to be putting a little bit of pressure onto this forward position here. Ajax caught out here. Villager going to be going down. Zom coming through here for Kavoth, casting that Sentinel. Lots and lots of villagers on the temple as well for Kavoth, as he wants to make a whole bunch of Nemean Lions, Skylar, and all the other good stuff. As Kavoth manages to push back. I'm pretty sure with a hero in hand, he's going to be able to fight this one back. But Jason, nowhere to be found for the moment here. And El Matador just going to have to pull all the way back. He's going to lose all of these units here. In a way, it wouldn't be a bad idea just to delete all these docks and not sacrifice the Skylar, but that's going to be happening nonetheless. And once you're in front with these Skylar, it's just impossible to catch back up. Their heads, this is effectively 6 Skylar worth of DPS sitting here. So it's really important to hit this heroic age first. Meanwhile, onto this other side, the dock's still alive. Skylar is in, and Kavoth, he has managed to make something out of nothing here, as he's going to be able to take out a whole bunch of El Matador's stuff. Now, he also cannot get himself... What is that tech there? He can't... Yeah, he can't get himself the Argo here because... Well, he doesn't have access to Aphrodite, and now he's going to be dealing with Skylar. He can produce his own Skylar to defend, but like I said, once you're behind, and you have to sort of figure something out. Does he have the upgrade here? No, he doesn't, and the Skylar is just going to clean everything up. El Matador, though, he's going for the jugular. We see the Chiron is out. He's going to be taking out that Minotaur beautifully here, and it looks like Kavoth has managed to turn this game on its head. He's also making out a whole bunch of Phaspis, Toxotes coming through as well, and that's going to be a huge counter to the units coming. We'll also see some Peltast coming in as well to deal with the Toxotes. Nice players. The Heracles is going to be able to push back for the time being, but Town Center coming through, and there is always the option of just saying, all right, you take both of the water sides. I'm going to get my Town Centers and just focus everything in onto the land. But this is going to be a lot of economic advantage for Kavoth coming in. He's heroic age. He's got that purse scene upgrade in the dock to boost those fishing ships' economy. And that's effectively him. You see the differential in villages. It's a 2 villager lead in terms of actual villages, but fishing ships, it's going to be 18, 21, 25, 24, 20, 27, whatever you want to call it. There's going to be a huge lead here as we see the curse getting dropped down. Nemean line finally getting targeted down there. The Toxotes out to deal those Phaspis nicely, but El Matador, he has now found himself in a little bit of a troublesome position as we see Kavoth setting up an early fortress up here to grab this gold mine. Kavoth is going to be completely fine for gold. His only problem is no town centers at the moment, but he's got the resources to drop it. I actually wouldn't mind a second fortress here, just on the fact that he's going to get such an economic advantage from all of this fish. Meanwhile, you see the docks all getting taken down, and you can send like Odysseus over to the shore to try and deal with this. It's always an option to try and take out those water myth units. There's no problem with going for that, as we've got Nemean Lion going to get sniped down. Nice catch there for El Matador. He's getting himself that heavy infantry. Too little too late on this fortress though, 4 seconds away, and that one is now Kavoth's, and that is going to be a Kavothian gold mine secured. This is very, very good right now for Kavoth moving forward. He's in the front now with that Chiron, trying to target down the Manticore over here. Great micro on the Chiron to just get a little bit of reduction in HP, but gonna have to retreat out after getting it sniped down. Population differential. There's also a population advantage in terms of military for Kavoth, but a lot of that is in on the Navy here. He's got, is this 4 pop? Yeah, 4 pop on Skylers all over the place. He's got the triremes here, which are all 2 pop. So a lot of wasted, not wasted military, but just not being used on this position here. There is still restoration available here for El Matador, which might be a big deal as the Nemean Lion going to be charging forward here. El Matador, I mean, he wants to take a fight. If he had bronze here, he could definitely be thinking about moving forward. But we've already got Kavoth saying, my economy is gigantic. My gold mine is secured. My army is here. I'm going Mythic Age. I'm going Artemis. I'm going to be taking this game. We see a third town center coming down for El Matador. That's going to be a lot of damage coming through with an earthquake. However, in the main base, you see the houses spread out decently, but honestly, I'm pretty sure all those houses go down to earthquake. Though there's no Pegasus out. There's no scout out just yet. So no little inklings that anything's coming through. But, you know, El Matador's got to be thinking, if there's no town centers up for Kavoth, what is he actually doing? And maybe I've got to get myself fortified town centers, masons, architects really, really shortly. Villagers pushing forward right now, saying it's time to tango. I want another gold mine. I've got the army advantage here as well. Restoration getting dropped down there for El Matador as Kavoth forces that out in a way. The Peltas taking down those Toxotes on the back. But it's a good fight right now for El Matador. Kavoth pushes a little bit too hard and he loses a lot of units here. This is the opportunity that El Matador has been waiting for. Pegasus is now coming forward for Kavoth to find that line of sight, to use that earthquake. But I don't know how much it matters. These Peltas sitting with 20 range, they can siege this gold mine from afar. We see a fortress coming down onto this position. The adjacent is patrolling on this spot here as we've got ourselves now a Zom on the fortress. A big amount of favor invested into that one, but it's a lot of support here as the hoplites charging in to take down the rest of those Peltas. We've got a Chimera in here as well as the Kavoth Pegasus slowly starting to fly into this position. Bolt onto the Chimera, using that one for the second time here. Very, very nice usage. It's a very expensive myth unit taking that out as the earthquake coming through onto El Matador's position. Town center is going to be going down. Houses are going to be going down all over the place here. That's huge. Population drops down to 60 here. He's got 0 wood in the bank as well. This is a really, really challenging time. He's made 2 Petropolis. You've got to just cancel everything. Get those houses back up. Easiest way to get your houses back up is 1 villager on each house. Put 16 villagers to build those houses back up, and they will come up all in about 20 or 15 seconds roughly, right? Do we see any houses? Here we go. Yeah, it's about 15 seconds. He's going 2 on each, which isn't terrible, but yeah, we're still seeing the pressure coming through. Kavoth has got a long road ahead of him now. He's lost all of his army. That was the big mistake, and this is allowing El Matador to just say, look, I mean, I might not have the population cap right now, but I'm going to have it really, really soon, and I'm just going to be able to keep putting pressure onto your gold mine over here as the army of Kavoth is trying to build back up. There's another real big power spike remaining for El Matador in this game in the shape of Hera to Lightning Storm, and see if we can actually just kill off another army of Kavoth and take this game with a gold staff. But the Chimera is back in. Odysseus taking a lot of damage there as it does go down very, very quickly, and that's going to allow that Chimera in, no problems. Jason is in on the front. That Perseus is a real big damage dealer here as the Peltas try and get that damage done, using that special ability to snipe one of the Peltas from afar. Another fortress coming down on the front here as El Matador is going to be desperately trying to defend over here. Toxotes on the other side here. We've got those Petropoli. They aren't going to be useful here at all as Salt Amphora, the third or the second tier upgrade coming through. Great garrison micro here from El Matador as the Toxotes on this side, however, they do get caught out, and this is a real big problem right now for El Matador. El Matador needs food income. He's got all of this food in his main base. He's got the wood all getting chopped down at the moment. There's 1,000 gold food in the bank right now for Kavoth, which is absolutely huge. Kavoth still 1 town center, still putting pressure on. I want to see like champion archers, upgrades coming through. No need to grab a town center at the moment. El Matador is starting to get a pretty significant villager lead, but there's such a big, I mean, funnily enough, we're not seeing the fishing ships getting built over here for Kavoth. A little bit of a mistake there from Kavoth, giving a bit of an advantage there as the Odysseus comes forward. We'll be able to get a little bit more damage done on the Chimera. Takes a while for that one to go down as we see a Heliopolis now joining in to the party here, coming in to take out that fortress, but without an army behind it, as El Matador manages to micro beautifully that defense. He's not going to be able to make any sort of forward movements here because villagers can just push forward and defend that. Yes, the Toxotes and the Peltas don't do the damage, but nonetheless, it's going to be completely fine where that's concerned. As the villagers here getting pushed off that gold yet again, you see there is gold in the bank, but it's just such a small amount. If we take a look at the market as well, he can sell food. He can sell food in a really, really big way right now. Good little target fire here, but with the Petropolis out, that's another real nice defense against the Heliopolis. It's only got itself 50% crush, so you're doing a 48 crush, a 48.4 crush per attack, and there's 3 boulders there as well, so it's a huge amount of damage where that's concerned. As the Chimera coming back to full HP here as the Odysseus turns around. This does cost food, so this is one of the units he really wants to make. Great micro there, though, from El Matador yet again as he manages to keep himself, the majority of his army, alive from that AoE damage down to 90 HP, 80 HP. He's going to be looking for villagers here. I like that call. Raids in this position are going to be really, really important as the Petropoli targeting down this fortress, trying to get that gold staff started. Meanwhile, this gold mine over here is not secured by either player, both player not having their eyes on that one. Surely Goth is going to make an attempt at moving over there at some point here. As where did that Chimera go? I think it may have perished as we see a fortress now coming down for Goth. He's going for that other side over there, and we do see champion Peltast is in here as another Chimera coming through. Great micro yet again from El Matador. You have to move after the fact though, because these guys are still taking damage while sitting in that fire. The population differential, El Matador, he's got the population advantage because he's got those 3 town centers, so he's going to be able to win these fights forever and more, as we see both players now dropping their fortresses on this location. Govoth is first, though. He's going to be getting that one finished very, very quickly. I want to see that Underworld used. Use that Underworld, get up to that top position here, but it's too little too late, as it looks like El Matador just not paying attention up there. But both players will probably complete that fortress, though the villagers can come through and shank that down. Nice play where that's concerned. As the hoplites now, I mean, he's got a handful of them out. Still building Chimera, still pushing back, but El Matador, he's now got the hoplites coming through. The fortress is back up, but the villagers still shanking. Got to repair that one. More hoplites queued up now for El Matador as the push through the center of the map coming in. Got to bring those villagers over to shank. The hoplites do the damage. The Peltas not so much. A couple more Chimera coming in now for Govoth, for El Matador to deal with, but Odysseus is packing a punch. The Jason also packing a punch as well. The fortress up on this position will be surviving for the time being. We don't see any sort of Petropoli coming out of here to deal with this. The Chimera coming through will be able to get some fire breath in onto those villagers here. Does pay attention, does pull away. Nice play there. The Peltas coming through yet again for El Matador to try and take out these units. And another Zom coming down here for Govoth. He's trying to get full value out of that one, but this does mean no restorations, no extra curses. A lot of reduction in Chimera numbers as well. Villagers getting pushed off of that wood line over here. The weakness of being one town center is losing villagers. Yes, he's got 1,300 food in the bank, but it's really not going to matter. The Chimera in the middle here, not that much HP remaining as the army comes forward. Govoth is back on this gold mine now. He's managed to distract, he's managed to get some resources back in, but he needs a town center, he needs some population. El Matador, he's going to be able to go Mythic Age soon. He's at full population, and Govoth in that moment calls it, and El Matador manages to hold on and equalize the series. What a game here from El Matador. It was just like, he controlled it so well. I think Govoth kind of sneakily outplayed a little bit to get that top fish, but in not building fishing ships, he's missing out on so much income. And I don't know how much he traded. He did trade a little bit of food for Reese or for gold here, but he could have gone for a trade route. He could have put a trade route down the bottom with all of that excess food. He could have put this town center up, not having to worry about gold all too much. But in the end here, really solid game from El Matador. Checking out that timeline to just see exactly what the differential here in resource. You see how far in front Govoth is, but that's not the problem. The gold is the problem as El Matador shoots to the stratosphere at the end of that game. Really well played there by El Matador. Moving to game number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a fun time. If you are, do remember to hit that follow, and we'll get the next game going very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, game number 3. It's game number 3. In the top of the map here, we do have Kvothe spawning in as the blue Uranus. And at the bottom of the map, we've got El Matador spawning in here as the red Isis. I'm going to do a little flipperoonie on these bad boys because it just is going to throw me off a little bit as Kvothe is ever so slightly on the right side and El Matador is ever so slightly on the left side. It really doesn't matter, but this is my OCD kicking in right now. Yeah, map is Oasis. El Matador here, he's got to be feeling great. He just played an insanely good Anatolia game, bringing it back 1-1. He's now on, I think, his first pick in the draft from memory. He's got that Isis, so he will be facing up against Uranus, which is no easy matchup. You can go for Pre-Siege here. You can go for Anubis and go for Anubite Spammage here as the Isis. You can just play a 2-town center, attempt to hold everything sort of play, especially if you can maybe grab this town center first with the back gold mine, chuck a temple here, put a wall here, grab this town center, maybe wall off this bottom here, and then you get this gold mine nice and secured with 2 town centers and make some sort of a defensive game plan work against the Uranus. I'm not sure how well this statement applies to Retold, but basically if you can survive the onslaught of Uranus, you can find the win against him. Now in Retold, it's a little bit more tricky than this. It's the late game of Uranus isn't that bad. It's just that the economy in the late game tends to like flip and it makes it really, really hard to keep up. Now, if you do make yourself a whole bunch of trade caravans nice and early, you can keep yourself in that driver's shoes, as well as you could also go for the Prometheus angle and heroize your citizen with Theft of Fire, and then suddenly you're actually back into the lead economy-wise. So there are ways around that weakness if you want to play that defensive kind of Atlantean game or boomy Atlantean game or just a late game Atlantean style. Helios, Prometheus, those are your options in all honesty to make that happen. Now, Oasis, it is traditionally known as a really, really defensive map. Just on the fact that it's really hard to get from one side to the other and hit both gold mines, like say this gold mine and this gold mine at the same time. It's really hard to make that happen. But guess what? Kavothe's picked Uranus. Uranus has got this big, fat, juicy, unique building called the Sky Passage, which you can drop on one side of the map and on the other side of the map and very easily maneuver around against any sort of defensive ideas that El Matador wants to go for here. But the big question is, which way is El Matador going to be taking this game? He hasn't thrown up any obelisks just yet. He's got his temple down. And to me, seeing 0 obelisks means one of 2 things. Either he just wants to macro out that Flood of the Nile as fast as he possibly can. I don't particularly like that because getting vision is super important and you're really only saving yourself, I'd say, 5 to 10 seconds, so 5 to 10 food. It's not really that worth it to not get the obelisk up. But more, I would be expecting him to be thinking or be going for a very, very tight build for a far second town center. He's already got himself 8 villagers on the gold. He's already got himself pickaxe as well, so he's going to have a lot of income coming through. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map here, Prometheus is the god of choice, but we still haven't seen any extra oracles. Now, Prometheus is fantastic on the fact that you unlock Prometheans. Prometheans are an incredibly strong myth unit. You build them, they tank for days, forces out priests, that's gold expenditure, and you can make that work. Now, it looks like to me, Kvothe is just going to be going for a 2-town center idea, which is also really good. I still want to see him get some oracles coming in after the fact. If you get yourself 5 oracles, the favor for Atlantean just shoots through the roof, especially with Uranus. But we see Dwarven Horseshoes coming through. And this is giving me the inkling right now that Kvothe might be thinking about 2-town center, fast heroic. 2-town center, fast heroic into, as we see counter barracks coming down. So it's not going to be a 2-town center, fast heroic. I thought maybe 2-town center, fast heroic into Mamilo Contarius. Such a strong composition. Such a strong composition. Very, very difficult to defend against. Meanwhile, in the main base here for El Matador, market coming up, and it's not what I thought. He is going for one monument Sphinx. That's wild. He's got 2 Sphinx out. He's going to be getting himself that Cryo Sphinx upgrade as soon as he can afford it. There he goes. Marker coming down. He's going to be going for a fast heroic. I wouldn't be surprised to see El Matador go for a fast mythic here. I don't really see a 1 town center build working in this matchup against this fast second town center. But the adaptation of Ancestors Eclipse the economy, and then go for the Mythic Age makes a lot of sense to me, because then you can pressure this gold mine with a whole bunch of chariots and all the other good stuff, and make that work there. Granary coming through. Sphinx going to be retreating away. Terma on the chase. He may get sniped down. I mean, you can bring a priest forward and try and heal him up, but he's going to get pulled back. Meanwhile, over here, this Sphinx is going to get pulled back as well, as Prosperity does get dropped down. This is dangerous. Dropping the Prosperity at this point with no gold mine secured means what? Well, it means trouble for you. It absolutely means trouble, because that gold mine's going to expire, and Kavoth, he's not going to just sit back and let you just tech to the Mythic Age on a second gold mine. Nonetheless, this Sphinx here looks like those terms, they're just so strong. 6.4. He did not need to use Shockwave there, but he does, and that is a dead Sphinx. But that's that's 1 charge of Shockwave down. That means he has to pay 15 favor for the next Shockwave. That's a big deal. It is a big deal. Meanwhile, up onto this position, the Obelisk getting taken down, and Kavoth says, if you're not going to take your hunt, I'm going to take it, as he sends a hero citizens forward to grab this position with a Sky Passage. Absolutely love that decision there. As the units here going to be moving up to the middle here. We see the double Terma heroes in, but there are a whole bunch of priests, and this is going to be completely fine for him to defend against. A little bit of micro. You can just heal these bad boys back up with the priests in position. No problems there. In the main base, still a handful of villagers on the wood. I'm still not 100% sure what El Matador is going for. We see a monument to the soldiers. I like the idea, protecting this position from chaos, from Shockwave, from everything else. Kavoth at the moment, he's not building any more units. He's now throwing up a market. He's going to be going to the Heroic Age. This gives El Matador all the time he needs to get to the Mythic Age. But with only 5 villagers on food, it's not going to be coming through anytime soon. So it's a risky move nonetheless. We've got the Pegasus through as well for El Matador, so he will be able to drop Ancestors Eclipse down. I want to see him use it if he's going to... I mean, I don't really know what else he can do it on. You can't really wait for Chaos to come through, because then you're just going to be having some troubles there. As we've got the Terma heroes onto this position, they're out of position. Ancestors Eclipse right now would be huge. Yes, the Terma can return back home very, very quickly, but at least you get that damage down. As onto this position, the Scorpion Men spots, a Promethean spots, the forward Sky Passage. You can put a little bit of pressure here, but the Terma heroes can come through and get that damage down as well. As the Scorpion Men, that's going to get picked off. Great micro there, pulling back. Good dodges onto those spears here, but you can only dodge for so long, as the Terma going to be chasing forward. Now Ancestors Eclipse can possibly take down a town center. He can actually just teleport back home, though, unfortunately. Scorpion Man is down as Thayer is coming through. And we see a handful of Chariot Archers in, as the Siege Works is also going to be coming through. And the longer this timing attack takes to take off here, the more terrifying I get for El Matador. He is going to be in a very, very difficult position moving forward in this game. He is going to be a very, very difficult position in this game. Terma coming through over here. We've got those Promethean offspring on the back here. Just going to be a little bit of a pain. But the army is now starting to push forward. Taking down this Sky Passage does get a significant blow to Kavoth, because he can't just move around here and defend this gold mine so easily. As the Camel Rider is going to be retreating back. But he does have to be careful. It is a very simple solution for Kavoth to defend against this Heroic Age army. All he needs to do is make Catapulties and Terma and Micro. In fact, he probably doesn't even need to micro. Just has to pull a couple of Terma to take out the Chariot Archers on the back. But those Camel Riders will be able to deal with these Terma very nicely. But Thayer is in now, and that's going to mean Hesperid's Tree goes for that immediate Poseidon Streaker. It gets that Lancer's Stone as well. Going to be getting those technologies as fast as possible, as the Promethean Offspring just taking down a little cheeky bit of vision there from El Matador. If we take a quick look at what El Matador sees, honestly, not that much. And Kavoth is making him pay for it. He's up here onto this position. He's down here onto this position. He's pushed off of this gold mine, but it doesn't matter. He can build a sky passage over here. He's got a sky passage here to grab this gold mine to boot here. But the siege works is now up. Siege towers are going to be coming through. And El Matador, he's got to make some serious amounts of damage down. He's going to be able to pick off one citizen. Nice play there. Going for another citizen. Not able to make that happen just yet, as the Chariot Archer is going to be pulling back. And for those of you wondering what formation here these players are using, both of them are doing this. We see El Matador going for box formation on both of his units here. And I'm sure that Kavoth here is going to be doing a similar thing when he starts moving these units. He hasn't got it set up just yet, but he did have it on those Terma as well. Reason for it is units just seem to pack into a tighter space. Great snipe, another citizen getting taken down. There's a mountain to climb in terms of villager differential here. And here's the thing. Even if you take down both town centers here with a big push, you still got to contend with the fact that your opponent is double your economy here. As the Chariot Archers pushing the villagers off of that home gold mine. Good micro there from Kavoth to stay alive. Citizen over here. Oracle does get protected or get prevented from going into that town center. Siege tower finally starting to roll forward. I want to see a forward siege works here. It's not coming through as the citizens diving into the tower over here. All the units diving into that sky passage. They can charge forward and take this siege tower down incredibly fast. Ancestors Eclipse now going to get dropped down, but only the one siege tower here. This is going to be a challenge. He's got to really sit on top of the siege tower. Kavoth is one of the best defenders against these sorts of pushes as Atlanteans I've ever seen, as the town center does get taken down, but look at the population. It's equal here. Yes, there will be ancestors, but look at all of those hero Contarias now coming through. But with the heavy camel riders, that's a very, very strong unit here. Kavoth is doing that defensive garrison micro beautifully as the siege tower rolls forward. If anyone can make this work, El Matador is going to be one of them, just on the fact that he's got some insanely good control. Charging into the main base here. He wants to take this fight, but the double Hesperus trees are in. How many of those dryads does he actually have at the moment? He's got a handful. He's already got 6, 7, 8 dryads out as the sky passage does end up getting taken down. Chariot Archers from afar getting some serious damage done, but the ancestors is over. Eclipse is remaining, but a couple of priests now coming through. He's got a micro in onto those dryads to hold the front line. Population in terms of military, it's favoring the ISIS, but those dryads, they don't count as population. They are there. They're really helping out as well. As on the back here, the Pharaoh getting targeted down by Contarius. The front line getting erased here, as El Matador has to micro back with those Chariot Archers. He does have a forward Camel Rider here, but the Contarius 6.9 speed. Are you kidding? Those are 5-speed Chariot Archers. They aren't going to be able to hold on this position in the slightest. El Matador is now in a really, really tough position. Yes, he's picked off a handful of citizen, but it's not been enough as the units retreating back. He's now finally got that second town center up, but too little, too late. He needs those heavy camels. He just does not have the production up at the moment, as the monument here going to get sniped down incredibly fast. And then Kavoth just retreats back and says, my time and my attack is done. I've pushed you all the way back, and now we're all good to go onto another second town center and continuing to increase his defense here. He goes for a third town center on this position, because why not? He's got such an economic advantage. He's at 175 population. El Matador, 100 of 200 population right now. But he's up against pure Contarius. Now, if you can get down another Migdol and you can get down pure heavy camel riders, you can win these fights. But obviously, El Matador's got to be concerned about any sort of transition into catapulties, because as soon as you see mass camel riders, the natural instinct has got to be, well, I just make catapulties, counter cavalry, and then sure, you can kill off some of my Contarius, but I'll replace those with catapulties, and then what do you do? But now it's all just going to come down to how well Kavoth can execute here to stamp El Matador out of this game. You go Mythic Age through Hecate to drop that Tartarian gate and do a push on the other side of the map? Do you go through Helios here to get that vortex in to kind of just take out a whole bunch of units and all the other good stuff? Well, we'll see what the plan is going to be here as Kavoth charging forward, going to attempt to take down some of those chariot archers on the back here. Town center onto this position. We'll see how things are going to go there as the Pharaoh does dive in to the town center there. There's just so many units here, though, for Kavoth. He's got such a ridiculous advantage. On the top of the chariot archers, they aren't going to be that much of a help. The town center just does not stand a chance. Meanwhile, in this position, the unit's just taking down the remnants of the ISIS army of El Matador, and El Matador's got to be thinking at this moment, what can he do? And the answer is honestly not very much. Contarius cleaning up the rest of these units. Nymphalian Bird going to come through and make that happen as well onto this position here. And we see the game here. I think we've had a tap out from El Matador here as Kavoth races away to a 2-1 lead at the moment. Too strong in this game. Super, just like ridiculously efficient defense. You sack the town center, no worries. You wait, then you fight. Perfect display of how to make the second town center defense against this one town center ISIS push work. If you guys enjoyed this one, don't forget to hit the follow on the Twitch if you're on the YouTubes. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next game. Make it happen very, very shortly. And ladies and gentlemen, we have finally got into game number 4. The slightest of technical difficulties have hit us, but we soldier on nonetheless. Spawning on the right side of the map, the blue color, playing as Ra. His name is Kavoth. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Thor. His name is El Matador. The map is Tundra. And yet again, we are seeing the same opening here for El Matador. I don't blame him for this one. I think this opening is really, really good. I love the armory positioning. You do lose out on a little bit of efficiency coming out of the armory. So for those of you who don't know, Thor, when you upgrade armory upgrades, you do end up getting yourself a dwarf. And a really, really good way to open up is to put the armory nice and close to a straggler tree, such that the dwarf pops out, is going to be on the straggler tree, and you're going to be having a really good game of it because the dwarves have got max efficiency. However, in doing that, you do lose the opportunity to position buildings around your gold mine to defend against early pressure. So I like this idea here from El Matador. It's also nice and close to the gold mine, so he can just drop onto that if he needs to, and it looks like that's what he's going to be doing nonetheless. As houses coming down over here for El Matador to boot. Relics in the middle of the map. We do have that tier Fring Angan tier sword. This one here, in all honesty, can be enough to change this matchup for all the Norse gods. 10% extra lifesteal in a situation where you're attacking a Wadjet and getting attacked by a handful of axemen can be the difference between getting off a Wadjet kill and a Wadjet surviving with 1 HP remaining. Or basically, you can get off an extra blow a lot of the time because you just get so much more HP back when you deal that huge damage. So it's a really, really big relic. I'm sure Kavoth is going to be keeping his eye on that one. El Matador not going to be aware that it's there just yet. More relics on the map that have been spotted here. The Scales of Echidna. This relic is gigantic for Kavoth. It's also important for El Matador if he can get his hands on it, but 15% off on those Wadgets, they are dirt cheap in a really big way. On this position over here, we've got that Pelt of Argus here with a +6 line of sight. And not the most of importance, but line of sight on raiding cavalry rage can be a very, very big importance. At the bottom side of the map, we've got that Bridle of Pegasus here, which is going to be a Pegasus that respawns for free every 60 seconds. So lots of great scouting information there. And if Kavoth spots that, we'll see if he's going to head down there or not. It looks like he's not. It's well worth it to pick that relic up as Ra, just on the fact that once this early game finishes, you can't really get out on the map and put these obelisks unless you've got a huge army. So your scouting becomes very, very difficult in the early or the late early game, early mid game sort of sort of situation there. And getting that Pegasus out can be really, really important. As we see, El Matador going to be dropping down that temple over here. And in the main base here for Gavoth, we are seeing Tar queued up for a 4:30 advance time. It's wild to see these players kind of like, and Age of Mythologies just kind of move through the meta in a way that I don't want to talk myself up too much, but I kind of expected. In the start of this game, it's like, how do we defend? I don't know how to defend. I can't defend, so everyone just advances really quick and tries to be the one attacking because attacking is so good. And then slowly but surely, inch by inch, players start going, yeah, you could attack me there, but I can defend like this, or I can defend like that. And slowly but surely, you start seeing these later advance times coming through. 4:30 might not seem that late, but in all honesty, it's pretty late in the grand scheme of things compared to some of the like really fast 3:15 advance times, which are possible for Thor, which are possible for Poseidon, 3:30 advance times for Ra and Set and Isis and everything else as well. You can definitely make those happen. But we'll see what's going to happen here. Is El Matador going to be finishing off his wall? I love this wall to pieces. This is so good. He just needs to put another couple buildings up here or an actual wall down the bottom. Second Great Hall going to be coming down in the main base here for Gavoth. He just goes for the town center. Now, in this situation, in all honesty, if I'm the Thor player, I delete this Great Hall and I just go for a town center. Reason being is I'm more than happy to play a macro game as Thor against Ra. I'm so happy to do that. That being said, you can always go for the huge attack. You've got so much food in your main base. Go for a Bragi timing attack here, and you can get a big win. Gold mines in the center of the map here are very, very exposed as a town center on this position just about to finish up. Goat's going to be coming through here as well. Pegasus Rush says that Matador doesn't have map hacks, and yet you can tell that the town center is grabbed by the score differential. As soon as the town center finishes, you can see that that score moves up by 500. So using score reading technology, you know what your opponent's doing without having to watch them when it comes down to whether a town center has gotten built or anything else. If you aren't aware of this as a top player, well, now you're aware. You should be using this. It's very, very important information. Armory coming up here for Gavoth. And all the other good stuff. Meanwhile, Raiding Cavalry going to be coming through onto this position. We've got the Wadjet in. Big forest fire. He's going to be able to pick off one villager. Oh, he moves the Raiding Cavalry. It's not there. Wadjet going to get taken down onto this position. The villager over here will get sniped down as well. Does get that pick, but losing out on that other villager was a big, big mistake there. Raiding Cavalry swinging around looking for things to do. We've got the units coming around onto this position as well, going straight after those villagers. We've got the Wadjet on the middle here, going to start getting sniped down as the Raiding Cavalry pull back. And they're just going to be looking for as much value as they possibly can. They've already got armory upgrades, so they really don't take that much damage. This spearman out in the middle of nowhere definitely can get sniped down and will get sniped down there. Nice play, good awareness as up onto this position. The Raiding Cavalry there gets sent backing there by the Wadjet. He did get himself the relics in this main base here. He's got himself that Angantine sword there. Not the Tearfing, Angantier's sword there, as well as that Scales of the Echidna. So he's got some really, really good upgrades. But up the top side here, we do see that lumber camp getting dropped down. Obviously, Gavoth wants to make those Wadjets and all the other good stuff that comes with that. There's a Raiding Cavalry going to be retreating back into the main base here. And we'll see how things are going to go. Dwarves moving up over here as well. Getting very, very aggressive with these dwarves. I like the move. One big thing you can do with Thor, which you can't really do with the other civs, is when you run out of home gold, you can move these villages over onto your goats or over onto your berries or whatever. And then you can move your hunters out onto secondary gold. And we already see that happening here for El Matador, as he's going to be looking for some more raids here. The big, beautiful thing about being the aggressive player here is when you've got all of these units, you don't really need to care about the town centers. You don't need to care about the watchtowers. You can just move in to your opponent's base if he's out of position here. As he's charging forward into the main base, sees the spearman onto that position. He does decide to retreat away. This is the weakness here, and potentially over here is a weakness as well for Kavoth. If we take a quick look at what El Matador can see, though, he does know that there's a gold mine over here. And he's going to be wanting to put some pressure there at some point. As the raiding cavalry swinging down here, going to be looking to get that damage done. But he's not quite getting in there just yet. Going to have to retreat back. No worries there. There's some more of those raiding cavalry going to be popping out onto this position. Up here, we've got the walls finishing up. I like the idea here, but in a way, El Matador, he is on a timer. Villager differential is now going into the favor of the Ra. That being said, El Matador's still going to have an economic advantage for quite some time here, as he is Thor, as he is Norse, as he's got those dwarves to help out with that bonus gold income and all the other good stuff that comes with that. Problem is, all of that economy has been thrown into raiding cavalry, and now he has to deal with pure counter units right now, as El Matador just running around the map here, playing somewhat defensively and just distracting those spearmen away. Very smart. He can lead those units into a whole bunch of thrown axemen here as well, if he wants to. He's also got a handful of Hersir, only 3. I want to see quite a few more Hersir out at the moment. He's also got that, I'm sure he's got that upgrade here. He does, for the Hersir, Thor's hammer, or something like that. Hammer of Thunder? Hammer of Thunder? Yeah, Hammer of Thunder there, which does boost those Hersir up. It's definitely worthwhile getting some more Hersir there to deal with those Wadgets. Definitely somewhere in the vicinity of 2 to 3 per Wadget is a good way to go about it, because that way you're 100% going to kill them off in the fight, and you're going to be in a good spot. As we've got the Thundering Hooves coming through, Spearman going to be looking for some raids into the main base here, but this does mean that the main base of Kavoth is going to be getting spotted. Look at this idea from Kavoth. He's got an obelisk in his main base, and in this one, with the Pharaoh empowering it, he's going to be able to get a huge amount of line of sight around his base. As the villagers here have been spotted, El Matador a little bit slow on that one. He loses 1, 2, 3, 4 villagers before getting into that tower there. Where's the army of El Matador here? He's on the front. He's let himself very much get caught out here. The villagers onto this spot. Going to be spotted next here as
into you.
Kavoth notices it. He sees the villagers over there. The dwarves going to be making a retreat here, but he's going to be losing those all if Kavoth can make this happen. Meanwhile, the villagers are onto this gold mine, though. And El Matador knows about it. He's just got to swing in there. He's got the units. He can take out those spearmen beautifully. He's going to be taking this fight. Kavoth at the moment hasn't retreated back. El Matador here needs to turn around and just attack this position. There is that skin of the rhino for the time being. Shifting Sands comes through, and the villagers are safe. But in the main base, villagers just getting shanked down underneath the town center as Kavoth is having his way with El Matador's economy at the moment. The raiding cavalry turning around to get a little bit of a chase onto this one, but in the main base for Kavoth, he can throw down a market and just sell. He can just sell. It does not matter for the time being here. As El Matador charging around the map, I want to see buildings getting thrown down, and I want to see these outer gold mines getting checked. You got no idea where those villagers shifting sands to. They could have come here. They could have come up here. They could have come up to this gold mine. As we see the El Matador units just charging all around the map here. Dwarves getting pushed away. He's still getting these raids off. This spearman attack from Kavoth has been ridiculous, as we see Sobek coming through as well right now.
Into you.
As the spearmen retreating back, meanwhile onto this position, the raiding cavalry checking forward as the villagers here come forward. I don't know if he saw that or not. I don't know if he saw the villagers coming down here or not, but they've got the gold in the bank. They're ready to drop the Migdol, and there isn't a heroic age in sight right now for Kavoth. He's going to have to make this work with this classical age army. He does have the armory upgrade advantage. He's still got all of that going for him. Actually, no, he doesn't. The army upgrades are equal here as the Locust gets dropped down. The units here attempting to dodge out of that one. He does manage to do so. The villagers will take a little bit of damage there. Same too for the Wadgets as well, as the Thrown Axemen turning around, getting some good damage done onto those spearmen there as the Camel Riders are now starting to come out. That's an expensive unit to be building. Lots and lots of gold in the bank right now for El Matador. Does he have a market? No, he doesn't, because if we take a look at the market here, you can actually buy wood for relatively cheap. You can also buy food for relatively cheap as well here. It's not a bad idea to continue along as the villagers sneaking forward. Rock is out on the map here, checking things out, healing stuff up. But where to next? El Matador retreats back. He's still on one town center. He's still on one town center. He's got so much gold in the bank. Is he thinking about a market? I don't know what his ideas are here. You can't be floating 2,000 gold and being one town center. You've now got heavy spearmen to deal with.
Skip.
As the spearmen charging forward, we've got those Thrown Axemen coming in to deal with these bad boys over here. There's also a rock in position as a attempt at a retreat path. Meanwhile, back over onto this position. So many Wadgets. Camel Riders are through. But honestly, raiding cavalry plus a whole bunch of berserks and all the other good stuff is not a terrible way to play here. Market is now up. Food is now purchased. Bragi is now coming through. But there's a population advantage for Kavoth of about 15 here as the camels coming in to get that damage done. But the infantry units are in a defense position. El Matador got to be careful with those raiding cavalry as the spearmen coming forward. The Wadgets eyeing off this gold mine. El Matador can just retreat back. He's still got a gold mine in his bank. He's got plenty of gold. He's got a gold mine in his gold power, and he's got plenty of gold in his bank as the Thrown Axemen going to be able to defend against those Kavoth camels here pretty easily, though the other units coming in onto this position. Meanwhile, over onto this location here, the raiding cavalry are going to be dealing with some villagers dropping a Migdol onto that spot, but the Thrown Axemen getting caught out. A little bit of shoot and scoot micro attempting to make that work, but those Wadgets are just harrying in a big way. Gold mine getting thrown down seconds before that. Bragi, he did not need to do that. He could have just gone on to wood and waited and would have had an extra 2,000 gold in the bank there as the raiding cavalry still taking villagers out onto that top position. Kavoth is eyeing into the main base and he sees a win in his grasp. He's only got 35 favor though. He doesn't have enough for his shifting sands. There is a possibility here that these raiding cavalry of El Matador, this flaming weapons of El Matador can be very, very difficult to deal with here. But the Migdol will go down. The spearmen are charging up onto this position. The villagers pulling out of here to deal with this. But the army does manage to spot those villagers popping out with those spearmen in. He will have to retreat away. He can keep on sieging down this position. Nice micro there, though, from Kavoth. He saves it. And the army has to retreat back. And now there's 3 town centers up for Kavoth. He's got an incredibly strong army here. His economy is absolutely stonking. And El Matador has not managed to make it work just yet, as the Rock going to be retreating back away here. Battle boars queued up, heavy infantry queued up. He's also getting himself that Thurazaz rune to get those myth units a little bit quicker. I'm not sure what that idea is there. It's very, very expensive in all honesty. 20 favor is actually the resource you care about. The wood, not so much. Flaming weapons gets dropped down. Units retreating away. Wadgets on the back here, immediately getting targeted down by those Herser here. And the myth unit... the myth unit ball there gets absolutely cleaned up. The unit's very happily just going to be pulling back into the corner, distracting away. The economy of Kavoth is ridiculous at this moment. Rain coming down into the main base. How many farms does he have? 21. He's got so many. 11 up there. How many in the main base? He's got 27 over there. We've got the raiding cavalry moving into the main base, trying to get villager kills on the bottom here. The gold mines grabbed. On this position here, still gold remaining up there as well. As the Thrown Axemen coming through, they are going to get some serious damage done with that flaming weapons. The army of Kavoth does get erased here in a big way, but up onto this position, the villagers getting idled up over here. Lots and lots of villagers are sitting idly by inside of that town center. Osiris, however, has been clicked through, and now the power spike is going to come back into Kavoth's hands in 2 minutes. But can El Matador get active on this game? We see the return raids here for Kavoth. While this is all going on, he wants to get some fighting. And I wouldn't mind seeing a handful of conversions into Berserks at the moment. Your economy is already suffering. Why not get some more military, defend this raid, and continue along? As the army for El Matador going to regroup somewhere. He can go after this town center. He can push down to the bottom and try and push off those gold mines. But Hillfort is, or not Hillfort, but Migdol Stronghold is up. Lots and lots of units queued for the moment here for El Matador. But he's at full population. And he does have a huge population advantage. And this is where El Matador needs to find his advantage right now. Taking fights at a population advantage, at a tech advantage to some degree. Does have bronze shields in. Do we see any of those heroic age upgrades in? Bronze mail is in. So there's not a tech advantage at all at the moment. As the army now pushing forward. He can't chase this army. He's got to be like going after villages as well, right? Otherwise his economy, and you see the numbers are starting to pile up here for Kavoth, but Kavoth kind of thrown a little bit. He just needs to run around and wait for his army to come through. The big weakness for Kavoth right now is that he's only got 2 Migdols. And while his economy is stonking, it's not enough to hold and reproduce if he takes these fights. As the Camel Riders charging in to take out Thrown Axemen, they're not actually that useful against these Thrown Axemen. Yes, the Thrown Axemen got low base damage, and the Camel Riders got high base damage, but the Thrown Axemen, they actually deal with these really, really nicely because they're doing hack. And there's no bonus damage against range units here for those Camel Riders. But more Camel Riders are coming through. The Migdol Stronghold getting very, very low on HP here. Battlebore's taking everything else out. But now, Son of Osiris is coming in to the fight here. Takes out the Battlebore on the back. Taking out everything else on the front. Now those Thrown Axemen are looking incredibly weak. The population of El Matador has dropped down to 105 here. As the Son of Osiris
into you.
Camel Rider army is getting out of control, and you already know this technology is going to be coming through very, very shortly. Desert Winds, he's got the resources for it. He queues it up, and that's going to mean the fastest, strongest Camel Riders available. There is a good counter to it in the kit that El Matador's got. He's got those Herdmen, but how is he going to deal with the Son of Osiris? That's the question. This guy packs a ridiculous punch at 68 divine damage per attack. That is true damage, ladies and gentlemen. None of the armor matters anymore. That Son of Osiris is just going to absolutely tear through everything. El Matador pulling back into his main base, trying to get set up on this location here with a hill fort. But in that moment, he says, the game is done. My time is done here. And Kavoth manages to pull away with a 4-game victory here against El Matador, managing to avoid that game number 5. A solid attempt here from El Matador. I really like the strategy, but it's so hard to secure all these gold mines. You've got to apply a ridiculous amount of pressure, and the thing that Kavoth did insanely well here is that raiding party. That one raiding party did so much damage to El Matador that all of his timings were thrown off. Didn't get the heroic age in time. Didn't prevent any of the Migdols from coming up. All of that good stuff there. What El Matador needed was either a handful of Thrown Axemen at home to deal with those spearmen, or walls. He has the walls on the front, a wall over here, and potentially, I don't know, he didn't really build this base all too well over here, but just making sure his entire base here is protected would have gone a long way to defending against those spearman raids, especially with like a handful of Thrown Axemen just to sit there and shoot over it. Anyways, first series down. We've still got 2 more to go. We're going to be moving out into the next one. It's going to be Soup versus Rappel. Going to be really, really fun series. Hope you guys are enjoying. If you are, don't forget to hit the follow button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the wait is over. Spawning on the left side of the map in the blue color, playing as Zeus. He's from the Aces team, and his name is the Rappel. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Isis. His name is Soup, also from the Aces team. For those of you wondering, where is Chemo? Unfortunately, a little bit ill today, was not able to participate. So we're going to be watching Soup. He's filling in, and we're going to be finding someone else to play against Ulysses for the third show match. Nonetheless, we'll see how things are going to unfold in this Auspicious Vacations. It is Boit's Backyard Bash show match number 2. Winner of the series does walk away with a cool 100 USD, and the loser of the series 50 USD. So everybody gets to win a little something something. We're not so we're not so rude about the whole thing. Nonetheless, Dwarven Calipers on the map here for the cheaper siege. Got the ships with the fingernail here with the plus 0.5 food per second over there. On this position, we've got that Tail of Cerberus. Minus 25% base for the special attack recharge. And on the bottom of the map, we have Tier Fing Angan Tier's Sword. Lifesteal from units plus 10%. So very, very nice map here. Savannah. 2 friends playing. A not so friendly best of 5 here. We'll see here. We'll see how things are going to be moving along as the obelisks already getting put up here for Soup. So not delaying on this. We have seen already one ISIS player, El Matador, deciding, we're just going to delay a little bit on the obelisks, get a little bit of a faster Flood of the Nile out. But Soup says, no, let's get those obelisks down, get that line of sight in. He's going to be going for a relatively quick Flood of the Nile anyways. Flood of the Nile and then Temple, it seems. So it's going to be a later advance time for him. So I guess it doesn't really matter. Nonetheless, on the other side of the map here, Rappel, he's already thrown down that Temple. He's got 2 villages on wood. It's not going to be a 3:30 advance time, but it's kind of looking like he's gearing up for a 3:45 advance time. I'm not sure he's got the food for it, so I'm a bit confused why the double villager on the Temple, though no, it does look like he's going for it. So it makes perfect sense here. He's going to be going on the offensive. He goes through Hermes. Hermes makes a lot of sense here. One of the big power spikes of ISIS is that Ancestors Eclipse combo. Using Ancestors Eclipse, you can get so much value on the economy. And 6-firing it as the Zeus, well, it just means you don't have to worry about it and you're going to be completely fine. You also get access to Spirited Charge for your Hippias, which can be a big assistance when trying to deal with Chariot Archers and everything else that comes along where that's concerned. As the Rappel's Jason going to be charging off to that corner here. He knows how important this relic is. 10% lifesteal. 10% lifesteal from units. So good. So good. Nonetheless, Toskabos over here just trying to cause a little bit of problems for the Rappel at the moment as the Temple now coming down for Soup. And the Toskabos going to be retreating away, and we'll see exactly what the strategy is here for Soup. Lots and lots of villagers just coming over onto the gold with a very early prosperity here. He's got himself 10 villagers on the gold, roughly. No, he's going to go build the houses up as he sees that heroic classical age is already in. Anubis, the god of choice here for Soup. I like the idea, but where to from this is the question. The centaur is already on the way, grabbing some goats along the way as well. And he's going to be putting some serious pressure over here as the villagers are not going to be quite finishing up with these house walls. Wouldn't mind just seeing a straight wall to finish this one up, but the centaur comes through. Anubis is still a ways away from completing as the centaur comes in, going to get a little bit of damage done here. He's turned off that special ability to just get those shots off. A priest coming through. There's that special ability coming in onto the villagers over here. This villager looks like it's going to go down. No, he gets back into the tower. No problems. As the town center is already up and finished for the Rappel. That's really quick. He's got a Jason. He's got that centaur. He's got a lot of pressure coming through. It's a very low HP villager over here as well. The priest needs to get over here and heal that one up. But plenty of gold in the bank now for Soup. But what's he going to spend it on is the question. As the priest going to be dropping in that Ship of Fingernails here. Big relic over there. Villagers up onto the berries, onto this position, as we do have Feet of the Jackal. And this has been something that Greek players alike, Greek players, even Egyptian players, Norse players as well, they have been struggling with this. These Anubites, are really, really powerful. And Soup is one of those players who plays into basically the weakness of the enemy god really, really well. And the weakness of Greek is you only have 2 heroes in the classical age. You only have 3 heroes in the heroic age. And these Anubites are going to get those raids starting very, very early. And Rappel is going to need to get his Heracles out and do something over here. As the Anubite jumps forward, trying to pick off a villager over here. The Centaur is in position to get a little bit of defense in. Will he be able to pick this one off or not? As we do see the Plague of Serpents drop down. 1 villager down. The villagers over here are going to start getting that damage in as the Anubite jumps over. We'll be retreating away. Meanwhile, in the main base over here, Anubite's going to be charging in to try and take down those villagers onto this wood line. Rappel at this point not paying attention. He's dealing with too much over on the other side. There's the bolt down onto the Anubite. Villagers still trying to take out those Plague of Serpents here. They don't really take any damage, but this is just a lot of idle time getting caused here as the Katoskabot's coming over here, sees the villagers on this hunt for the time being. Priest up over here, going to be healing up those Guardian Anubites, and we see Slingers as the unit of choice here for the time being. I'm a little bit surprised to see that, in all honesty. Spearman Anubite is so hard to deal with. And the Slingers, they really don't have any advantage at going through Anubis. You don't get electron bullets. Yes, you're not set, so you don't have that speedier movement speed with those Slingers. So they're just not that useful. Nonetheless, we've now got Serpent Spear coming through, Medium Spearman coming through, and a whole bunch of Spearmen are queued up as the Anubites going to be slowly starting to move forward, attempting to get a little bit more value over here as the Anubites dive. Great micro there from that Centaur, but good micro as well from Rappel. He almost manages to snipe down the Centaur as it's going to be retreating away. Slingers, Priest coming through, and the villagers have to pull off of that hunt for the time being here. The Anubites now, they can dive forward, and they do manage to do so. 1 villager not going down, does go down there as a Spearman gets sniped from the town center. Good defense from the Rappel, but he does take a villager kill there. Soup is gearing up in a good way right now to get a solid advantage cooking for the time being. The Anubite back onto this wood line over here, going after that low HP villager. 1 more attack and it's down. Doesn't manage to get that, but 2 more villagers over on this spot can get targeted down. The second Centaur is now out. This villager here, however, will get taken down, and the Anubite, unfortunately for Soup, dives in. Takes a long time for that special ability to come off cooldown, but the Centaur not getting microed all too well here. In fact, sitting underneath the town center fire, going after the villagers, manages to kill off the Centaur here. He's got that special ability to jump away, but does not manage to do so. Picks off another villager onto this side here. The watchtowers, they are up now though for the Rappel. His heroes on this position. Wall coming up over here. The units poking their head through, as it looks to me like Soup is going to be thinking about a next age coming through very, very shortly. Heracles and Jason charging forward to get a little bit of damage. They're going to be able to take down the Priest as well. Very low HP. Centaur manages to survive as the army can just come back, heal itself back up. More Spearmen coming in. I want to see the Heroic Age. I want to see Sobek here. Sobek makes so much sense because you can't ceasefire the Locust, and you can get a huge amount. The villagers are all kind of piled up, low HP all over the place. You get a huge amount of value. Locusting maybe this position here, killing off those berries, killing off the herdables in the main base as the Centaur dives through, tries to take out villagers on that location here. Rappel is turning around, going to start shanking as the villager here looks like it might be going down. In fact, it does end up going down. Villagers turn around, shanking even more here as the Anubite does decide there is the moment to tap that away. And the berries have been pushed off, and Rappel says, all right, time to get under my town center here. Rappel's been having a really, really tough start here, but we see him attempting to get to that next age, and honestly, I think it's the best idea. You can get Odysseus, and that's going to be absolutely huge here as the forward tower is going to be getting taken down. Still no advance time coming through here from Soup. He's got the resources, but he doesn't have the armory up just yet, it looks like. It's an armory. Now it's up on the top there, and he's going to be on to the next stage. Which god does he choose to go for? Is it going to be Nephthys? Is it going to be Sobek? It's going to be Sobek. I like the idea. Big ability to get that Locust in, get huge damage. He's also going to have access to camels with Dark Waters camels, as well as in the Mythic Age, getting up to Desert Winds camels as well. Could be a really, really good idea. But For the moment, a little bit of a lull before the storm as the buildings are starting to come through. Centaur Polemark is in as well for the Rappel. Temple here getting empowered up in a big way as the army going to be moving down to the bottom side here as we've got those Nubites searching around for something to take out. Looks like he's not going to be going for it, retreating back. Double archery ranges up as it looks like. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hoplite Peltast here. I mean, it makes perfect sense. You can make yourself some Harassment to deal with the Spearman, but then you're getting locked into a little bit of a challenging position. Second Town Center up for Soup now. He's not crazy behind on villager count, so I like it because he's going to be looking to get villager kills with this Locust. It's all going to come down to how much damage the Locust can actually do. As the heroic age comes through, a couple of priests here to take out those Centaur, not microing at the moment, focusing too much on those Anubites down the bottom that are getting damage done. The heroic age is now in. Locust coming through onto these villagers, and ceasefire comes in, and the villagers will survive. Nice decision to retreat back through the Locust there. The pressure is mounted, and Rappel, I mean, he's still got a villager lead. He's up by 5 villagers. Only 5. That's not enough to find a win here. He's still got to be concerned about second gold mines. Military population is significantly in favor of Soup. The problem is that Rappel, he's making Manticore, and Manticore don't cost gold, and he can just continue to pump these out in a big way. He's also getting himself that Temple of Healing. This is a big tech. All the villagers on this gold mine, all the villagers on the temple, they're going to get healed back up, as well as those military units, they're going to get healed back up as well. Migdol Stronghold coming down here, and Soup's got to make the decision now. Do I stay heroic age and keep putting pressure on, or do I go for Thoth right now for a huge mid-game power spike where it really matters? Tsukos now pushing forward. The Temple of Healing is in. And you can see the villagers. I mean, look at the he's got to get into this range though. He pulls back, going to get those farms back up. I mean, the other option is just you place down a whole bunch more monuments, and then you just use Locust again and try and get some more value. Nonetheless, the gold currently at 800 here. Looking up onto this position, there is an Odysseus over here. I mean, do you want to charge in? You're going to lose an Anubite if you jump in. He's deciding to go for it. Does jump straight onto those villagers. Picks off 1, picks off 2, picks off 3. And the Anubite's getting very low on the HP. Decides to pull back. He doesn't actually lose one. The jump made the Odysseus change the target fire, because when the Anubite jumps, it stops the targeting, right? And then it moved on to a different Anubite. So instead of this low HP Anubite getting picked off, different Anubite loses a whole bunch of stuff as the Batsukos going after the temple here. Yes, that Temple of Healing is in, but it's not going to be enough. And Thoth is clicked up here for Soup. This is going to be very, very challenging. We see a temple coming up on this position for Rappel. He's still trying to make those Manticore out. And here's the thing. What Soup can do here, effectively, is he can just transition into mass chariots. And then you ask the question, there's only 6 Peltas. That's not going to be enough. You can build a couple of Migdols and just go pure chariot archers from this point. You've already got Spearmen out. That's enough of a front line. Fill the rest in with everything else. We do see an Underworld Passage coming in onto this position, trying to get that return fire in, forcing Soup out. Great aggressive move here for Rappel. He's been waiting for the entirety of this game to leave his base here. Migdol Stronghold on this position is up, however. The army here of Soup, it's charging in. He's got those Anubites in. Unfortunately, this one not going to be able to jump all the way. Gets a little bit stuck for the time being, but villagers will be going down. Meanwhile, over onto this position, those Soup's villagers getting caught out. This is where the chaos starts to mount here. Villagers retreating. No, they're not running away in the slightest here. The army coming up now for Soup. He does have some sort of an ability to win this fight here with those priests, but a whole bunch of villagers go down. So too in the main base are villagers going down. However, everybody is taking losses at the moment, and honestly, if this favors anyone, you have to say it's going to favor the player who's about to get 1,000 resources a second from Valley of the Kings, but he needs to get over here and deal with those centaurs. They're doing huge damage here as the priest charging forward. Slingers here, not the best unit in this comp, though. If he micros a little bit onto those Peltas, he can take them out very, very quickly as the Manticore getting pushed back. The spears getting that special poison damage done. Villagers over here getting pulled back onto this position. The Patsukot's getting that damage done. And where do you get yourself that meteor? I like the home base. You might kill off the underworld passage. You're probably going to get a huge bunch of damage onto the town center, and you're going to kill those farms off. Villagers on this position still getting chased around. It's still a villager lead, however, for our main man, Rappel, as the meteor comes down. There's the damage. There's the underworld passage. It's down. The town center gets cleaned up. Does the villagers getting cleaned up as well? But the underworld passage lives. And do we see? Yes, we look at the chariot archer queued. He says, guys, chariot archers are coming. Resources are a pumping here. The Rappel is caught Soup out in a big way right now. Soup is full chaos. He's full running around. He's got the villager lead, and he's got this this Migdol, but immediately going to be putting pressure onto that Pharaoh. Great find here. But the Pharaoh turns around, taking out the Manticore on the back. You've got to be careful not to lose this one. Does manage to pull back in to the Migdol stronghold, empowering it back up, but immediate target fire. I wouldn't mind seeing a handful of mercenary cavalry coming through to just clean this up, as the villagers over here almost taken out by the Manticore. Manticore going to fall. Pharaoh's still alive. Rappel knows this is here. He's got a gold mine onto this position. The Phoenix is searching around. The Temple going to be healing everything else up. Lots and lots of Manticores remaining over there. But Soup needs to get that Pharaoh back to work. He pops it back out, and there it goes. So he's going to get a lot of chariots coming in, as the Manticore can pop back in and out of this underworld passage, looking for raids. The Manticore raids, they're 4.6 speed. They're actually quite quick, in all honesty, and he's got a great retreat path through here. Lots and we see that text, or that Book of Thoth, coming through as well to get a huge boost of resources, as the chariot archers moving into the main base, going to be attempting to stop any sort of town center coming back up into this position. As the chariot archers, do they have themselves that upgrade? They do not have ballistic, so you can dodge the chariot archer ball a little bit. Good micro here from Apple, jumping in and out over there as the villagers are going to be pulling back into the town center for the time being. The rock is in. The rock is in. The Patsukos are here. The Patsukos dive out, and the Manticore now gets greeted by a very, very terrifying presence as they manage to take that one out. Chariot archers over here sniping down Peltas, has to pull all the way back. Lots and lots of priests queued up as he realizes we'll have to deal with those Manticores somehow. Doesn't have access to Nephthys, so doesn't have access to Nebty, doesn't have access to the cheaper priests either. So life is going to get a little bit challenging when spending all those resources, but he has 3 town centers, and those villages are pumping. Rappel now going to be getting his town center back. Population differential is gigantic at the moment as the chariot archer's coming through. He still hasn't got himself ballistics, as the villagers are able to dodge those arrows. Chariot archers have to retreat back. That's just the technology you just must. It's a must-grab technology whenever you hit heroic age. As soon as you start building chariot archers, probably even before that champion chariot archers. But we see ballistics now coming through, and now this is where things get very, very challenging. Units still coming through to get the raids in with this underworld passage. I wouldn't mind him just pulling back and just taking this out, in all honesty. Given a little bit of time back over to the Rappel at this point, it's not that bad of a deal here. As you see some camel riders also coming through. He's getting himself his heavy camel riders as well. And the army of Soup is starting to look very, very scary. House is up on this position as well for Soup. That's an interesting one. Very, very cute, very pretty. Soup loves his nice bases. As the Peltas hoplite retreating back over here. And we'll see the units now pushing forward. I mean, if you can get in onto this gold mine, it's really, really big. Still a whole bunch of favor in the bank. You can actually make a bunch of Phoenix here, which would not be a terrible idea. And the slightest priests are in to take out those Manticore. Manticore only 16 range compared to the 22 range of those Mythic Age priests. They are able to deal with those incredibly easily here. There's the Peltas doing what they can. Meanwhile, Sun-Dried Mudbrick, Flood Control, fortified town centers. Soup is setting up in a big way. Lots and lots of units not actually in the fight here for Soup at the moment. He is sending those forward as fast as he can. Priests here managing to snipe the Manticore. He's going to get the other priest onto the other Manticore here as the Peltas moving around onto the side, trying to take out those chariot archers. A little bit of pullback micro goes a really long way here as the army charging into the main base, still trying to take out villages and everything else. He realizes he doesn't need them in this main fight. And Rappel here, he is looking like he is about to get overwhelmed by the power of this Anubis Sobek Thoth build here from Soup. The Spelldash trying to get the damage done, but there's just no military left for Rappel in this game. And in that moment, Rappel taps out and Soup finds the win. Those Anubites were absolutely king here, ladies and gentlemen. You see for a moment here, Rappel's economy gets into the lead. But when you're playing the two-town center side, you need to get that huge villager lead and then just maintain it. And he just wasn't able to do so. I loved the decision to not go for a crazy all-in here from Soup and grab the town center first, then go heroic age. It did allow Rappel a little bit of counterplay, but Soup played that really, really nicely to pull around it in terms of just everything here from Soup. Just kicking this series off with an absolute clanger of a game. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to hit that follow button and all the other good stuff, subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next scoop. What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and we are struggling with our scores here. First game going the wayside of the man, the myth, the legend, Soup down here in the bottom. He's deciding to move into game number 2 with his Frere here. In the top side of the map, Rappel now going to be grabbing his Ra. Egyptians so far having a very, very strong showing to kick this game off for the time being. We've got that mining camp coming up over here for the Rappel. The map's tundra, lots and lots of hunt in this main base. I'm really interested in seeing how Rappel's going to approach this game, because sitting back and defending and playing a stock standard boomy Ra style, that is exactly what the Frere player wants you to do. They want you to sit back. They want you to do nothing, because they can then get booming, and it honestly doesn't matter how much economy the Ra player can get in front of this Norse of Soup. Soup can just get more economy, just on the fact that all of his technologies are costing half price. That's the big deal. Nonetheless, we'll see how the game's going to unpack, what Rappel's game plan is going to be, and how Soup's going to react to it. Staff of Dionysus up here. We do have that 0.5 regeneration rate on the HP for the villagers. Not a bad relic, definitely worth picking up, especially against Ra. Ousberg Wagon here. This used to be like an S triple plus tier relic on Legacy. On Retold, we don't actually see it all too much being that impactful, though. Mark it up the top corner here, going probably over to this town center with that relic would be a big help if the game goes that way. And honestly, we've got 2 boomy civs here, so you could arguably try and take it that way. Tower of Cestus over here as well. Not going to be the most important of relics unless Soup decides to go for Bast here to help defend against those myth units. Up on the top side, we've got that Sharon's Obol, which could be returning some food or gold if villagers do end up getting taken out. So, very, very good. Nonetheless, we'll see what Soup's going to go for. House coming up. Let's check out his economic upgrades for the time being. He's already got himself pickaxe. He's already getting that hand axe in. So, some really, really nice economic boost going for him at the start of this game. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, still no hand axe for Rappel. He's going to be dropping that lumber camp down. I like this, in all honesty. Like, there's not a huge rush to get pickaxe out if you've only got 2 villagers on gold. If this is your build and you want to go for a faster advance time and all the other good stuff that comes with that, you know, this isn't a terrible idea. It's going to be a 4-minute advance time nonetheless. And I know you can get pickaxe and get a 4-minute advance time in with Ra, but I don't know if you can get all of these obelisks out and also do the same thing. So, an interesting decision from Rappel. He's going for that pickaxe right now. And he's going to be getting his economy into gear here. Granary coming down onto this position as well. And moving along here, we see Ulla. Ulla versus Dar. No surprises, but you know, I like Freya here a lot of the time as well with Freya. I don't think it really matters which way you go in most matchups. Some matchups are definitely better to go Freya than go Ulla, but you know, this one here probably doesn't matter any which way. Especially, I mean, those Draugr are really, really good. People look at the stats and they go, wow, Draugr not that strong. But in actual practice, if you get the Draugr to actually shoot and use its ability, it's doing crazy amounts of DPS. As we see a couple more houses coming down. In the main base here for Rapple, he gets a barracks up. He hasn't seen the other side of the map. This is worrying me for the Rapple. Because if Soup decides to, it looks like he's not going for it, but if Soup decides to go for a fast second town center, he's not going to notice it for quite some time. But it's a very late advance time from Soup, 4:30. I mean, late for Norse, but not that late in general. And triple longhouse. Triple longhouse to kick this one off. And we already see Rapple going in with Axeman. Now, at the start of the game, if there's no real slingers, then you can go for an armory as well. Triple longhouse. You can go, if there's no slingers, you can get throw an Axeman out and you can deal with those Axemen. But the problem unit is never the Axeman. It's how do you deal with the Wadjet? And you need Hursa to deal with the Wadjet, and then the Axemen deal with the Hursa. So it becomes like a really, really challenging situation to be in. As the 2 divine damage Draugr actually takes that obelisk out very, very quickly. That's very, very quick. Meanwhile, more Axemen going to be coming through here. Villagers just chopping down the wood. As 2 monuments up now for Rapple. He's going to be able to pump those Wadgets out in a big way. Moving forward, checking out this town center, making sure that doesn't get grabbed at any point here. There's always this scary moment where... Good micro there from Soup, where if you don't see this, there's an opportunity to just shoot that up once you get enough units. And the second town center means Ghoul and Bursty is unlocked, which means scary times for the Ra game plan. I love that. He just like taps the Hursa. There's a little bit of damage there. House going to be finishing up no, however. That's the Hursa running around. Sees Tower Cestus. This actually, honestly, it's a decent relic to grab. Especially like those Wadgets. If you take a look at the tower damage, I think it's like 8 DPS. And you get an extra 0.4. That's not nothing. And it can really poke away at those Wadgets a lot better. Oh, Hursa. Whoop, 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 whoop. Smack. Nope. Okay, we run back the other way. The armory almost up now for Soup as well. As the Axeman army coming through, the Draugr are going to be able to get some big damage done. Good micro back there though from Soup, from Rapple. As Soup gets his watchtowers. And got to put that relic in. And then the Wadgets are going to be able to get held back in a big way. Hunt is just about to be exposed. Berry's on the front here. A little bit unlucky in all honesty, but I mean, you're going to have Hunt or resources on the front at some point. Nonetheless, the Wadgets slowly moving forward. Going to look to snipe some units here. Soup might be looking to take a fight. He's getting himself the double. I love the double armory. The double armory is so good. Yes, you're paying an extra 135 wood for the armory, but you get that back in spades based on the fact that you get copper shields and copper armor out at roughly the same point you would normally, and you get the reduction on it as well. And then as the game goes on, as you get bronze, as you get iron, those technologies come in very, very quickly as the villagers are onto the front here. Oh, this is very sneaky. Rapple sees it though. Rapple sees it though. But the army is down the bottom. It's also on the front here. This obelisk here not in position to check these berries out. As the army going to sneak around on this side here. Soup is in position to defend. He's got it. Oh, he's showing on that. As we see another obelisk coming through. Rapple being very, very careful about how he approaches here, because these Wadgets, they can get taken out very, very quickly. You can also have to remember that there's that Servants of Glory technology that I don't think it's in. Oh, it is in. It doesn't apply to Hursa. I thought it applied to Hursa for some reason. It does not. But, villagers now going to get pushed back. Lots of damage. So much damage onto those villagers there. This one going to go down as well. Oh my god. It hates... You hate to watch it, but you know, it's just solid play from Rapple. Real good micro. 3 Wadjet spits. Kills off 1 villager. Segment now coming through. I like the idea of segment here. The problem that Rapple is going to be dealing with is throw an Axeman and getting himself that upgrade, Slings of the Sun, means that those Thrown Axemen get absolutely dominated. As we do have that hill fort, that's going to get shot up. There is a Shifting Sands available. Does he want to use it there or not? It looks like the answer is no. Going to wander up to the top side, however, as the hill fort, Asgardian hill fort, going to be able to secure this gold mine. There's still gold in the main base, just a little bit. I like how careful Super's been to move out here. House coming down onto the bottom. No town centers up for either player just yet. And Rappel has to pull back. Super's played around his weaknesses incredibly well thus far. Rappel has punished Soup only once, in all honesty, thus far. He killed off a bunch of villagers for it. And there's a slight villager edge here right now. But that's gonna be a relatively big edge once once Soup starts going to the heroic age. However, behind this, a town center. I love this. Behind this, a town center. Dwarves coming forward onto this gold mine. The Asgardian hill fort going to be a big help here. We do have that A gear coming through. Gold is finished in the main base here for Soup, as Rappel is ready to start breaking through these walls and pushing in onto this gold mine. There's still Shifting Sands for that Tempest, and I guarantee you that's what he's saving it for. Relic coming back into the hands of Soup. It's Sharon's Obel. I mean, it's not the biggest of relics, but in a game where every little bit counts, this could be the difference between affording a really, really big counterattack after losing a bunch of villages and not. As the walls go down, the unit's going to be pushing forward here. Population differential is slightly favoring Rappel here, as the Wadgets, they don't care. They can just push through and just get damage done. Huskull starting to come through as well here for Soup. Look at the slingers here. This is the problem unit. This unit here is going to be a big, big pain to deal with as the Hearser dive through, trying to take out those Wadgets on the back. That's throwing axemen are getting melted now by those slingers. We see a huge amount of queued up units in the back here. The Wadgets all go down though. This is gigantic for Soup. More units popping forward. The Slinger's going to be able to take out those units. We see another Great Hall coming down as Soup knows he needs to get himself some cavalry through. He does have medium cavalry. He's not getting himself any upgrades at the moment, just trying to pump units out. The Slinger's coming through to take out some dwarves. You might want to move over onto this gold mine here and do a little dance. Maybe push down onto the bottom, clean up those obelisks down there as well. Nice Great Halls coming down over here. And where do the dwarves decide to go? Nowhere just yet. Slingers are just going to keep popping through here. A handful of priests are in. And now this is a challenge right now for Soup to overcome. More Great Halls coming in. Does have a little bit of gold in the bank. Making only gatherers from the town center here. As the golems pushing forward. Using that special. Oh, he didn't quite use it that well. Gulin Bursty gets clicked down in an attempt to hold this position for ever so slightly long. You can take out the obelisk here and things as the slingers are getting pushed back in a big way. I think maybe Soup overcommitted a little bit on that Gulin Burst. He didn't really need it as the rock giant charges forward here, and Shifting Sands getting used. And this gives 175 seconds over to Soup to deal with this. Grabbing that forward town center as well. It's a slow, methodical game right now for Soup. He's going to take his time and try and make it happen. Rappel, on the other hand, he has gone through segment. He does have Bone Bow. He can make mass chariot archers. It could be the way to go right now for Soup to carry him out of this position. Spearman, chariot archer, stop making slingers. Yes, you've teched into them, but in all honesty, the only thing that slingers do better than chariot archers right now, and this is only because of this technology, Slings of the Sun, is dealing with throwing axemen. Chariot archers win on every other category in terms of dealing with units, and you still pick off the throwing axemen relatively quickly, maybe even more quickly with the range advantage that the chariot archers have with Bone Bow. Nonetheless, raiding cavalry charging forward, trying to take out the villagers over here. We see the spearmen. They do manage to defend. There is no skin of the rhino here, so those raiders can take them out very, very simply and quickly. We take a quick look at the buildings here for Soup. He's got himself 7. I've said it once. I'll say it a million times. The weakness or the difficulty, the hardest part about playing Norse is getting your buildings down. If you got 700 wood in the bank, throw down 5 buildings. Just do it while there's a lull, because you're going to have economy up the wazoo. So we see the raid still just running around the main base, looking for something to do here. There's not going to be really anything to take out for the time being. There's a raiding cavalry going to be charging in over onto this position here as well. You know, Cyrus now queued up for Rabble. Makes a lot of sense, but he still hasn't grabbed this town center. And I guess the difficulty here for Soup now is how is he going to kill off this Son of Osiris? Now, the big advantage that he does have is he's got Tempest. And Tempest slowing down everything, charging forward with a huge amount of raiding cavalry. I want to see him get to full population before he engages this army, just because that's the best way to go about it. Click that Tempest, come in and take him out. That's the way to go. Great Hall coming through over onto this position. We've got the villagers attempting to grab this town center. I don't think he should be letting that happen. Couple more buildings coming down now for Soup. He's got 5 Great Halls, 4 long houses here as well. There's a town center for Rappel. Will be coming up. Villagers coming up onto this gold mine now. He's getting himself, or Soup's now getting himself that heavy cavalry. This technology here, does he really want to make rams? It's a bit of an interesting decision there. A couple more throwing axemen coming in as he's seeing those spearmen. I think he's got plenty of throwing axemen in all honesty. More hill forts and getting set up for all the good stuff as the raiding cavalry does manage to snipe the priest. Town center here. 16 seconds to completion here as the heavy raiders are going to be charging over here to deal with this. On the bottom of the map here, we do have a cheeky little camel raider as those heavy raiders are in. That's going to be 1 villager dead. That's going to be 2 villagers dead. Town center 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and it does manage to barely get up. Battle of inches here. Apple 3 town centers, Soup 3 town centers. Camel riders still getting villager kills on this position. The army charging in. The army charging in, and we do see the Tempest coming through to get that damage done. But there's the Osiris, and Soup's got to be kicking himself at the moment. Son of Osiris is in, and this is going to be a big revenge move here right now for the Rappel. As look at that Son of Osiris, he is doing a little bit of a dance here with the wand. Turns around, damage coming through. Raiding cavalry trying to come through. The Tempest doesn't actually affect the Son of Osiris, just everything else. Does manage to get in onto that Son of Osiris here as it's getting pulled back. And it looks like Soup is overcommitted on that position. There's a whole bunch of berserks get converted in. He has managed to click up through Vidar. And that can be enough to help him survive here. But the problem is, where is he getting gold? He's moving dwarves away. He's got that gold mine up the top. The unit's charging back down to the bottom of the map. Dwarves in here. Getting brought into the action as well. Remember, if he loses villages, he gets resources back, so it's not the end of the world. And he can always just rebuild them if he so chooses. It's another siege works coming up now for Rappel. How many military buildings for Rappel? Just the 2 Migdol strongholds. And 8 barracks. So a lot of production there. 9 buildings here for Soup. Doesn't really have the economy. A lot of villagers on food at the moment. We do see a cheeky little hill fort coming over here, getting some damage done onto these villagers. Nice play here from Soup. Rappel a little bit out of position, but the catapults, they're starting to siege down. One thing here that Soup can do is not overreact to this. He can sack this position. As long as he gets up to full population, uses that god power. I'm just gapping on it. I can't remember it. What's it called? Inferno. There it comes in. Inferno comes through, however. The unit's trying to dodge, but they're not going to be... Oh, never mind. They dodged. They dodged in a big way. Nice split there, or nice dodge there from the Rappel. Son of Osiris is pulled back onto this position as well. Does manage to take down those catapults to give himself just a little bit of time, but that's not the value you want to see out of a Mythic Age God Power. You want to see the entire army getting cleaned up as the Fafnir coming through, and that's just gold going into the back pocket of the Rappel at this moment. If you charge it in, that Son of Osiris is going to do so much damage. And he goes down, and that is 300 gold there. Thank you very much, Rappel says. We still see some pressure down onto the bottom side of the map here. Soup he's getting technologies everywhere. But what he needs right now is military. It's 5.6k to 1.4k. Village differential is equal. He's trying to make up a whole bunch of those raiding cavalry now. There's a world where maybe he can get up to 200 favor and click Tempest again to try and kill off this army going down 2 town centers to 4 town centers, or 2 town centers to 3 town centers with some good fighting. That's this portable ram sitting underneath the hill fort to get itself healed up. That's kind of cute. Pascal's coming through, going to be able to take out those chariot archers. Another one not really helping out for the time being, but charging in nonetheless. There's the town center for Soup. Has been cleaned up. He's missing a couple of houses as well. He's got to get those sorted out. I mean, wait on those technologies. If you're going to wait, I guess. But he's deciding to charge through. Raiding cavalry berserk, the army of choice here, as the army tries to get in onto that Son of Osiris, but it's just so strong here as it manages to survive the heavy upgrades or champion upgrades come through. And Soup says, well, I got this far, and this far is not enough. And Rappel levels the series 1-1. Really, really solid gameplay here from the Rappel. Soup as well, in all honesty. I think instead of Mythic Age, and instead of obviously that Tempest, I know that Mythic Age is coming through, but you have to know that Mythic Age is coming at some point. And when should you use that Tempest? I think the time to use Tempest is full population to kill off that Son of Osiris. And I don't care what position my Ra opponent gets into. I'm counting on my late game abilities to win this one with Norse. I think Norse is really, really strong in the late game, especially with Frere, but Soup uses it way too quickly. Same thing with that Inferno. Get that concave in on both sides and then just drop the Inferno down the middle is the way to go. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this one, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and we'll get that next game going very, very shortly. Game number 3 is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. It is a best of 5. So now we've entered best of 3 territory. Spawning on the left side of the map, top left side of the map in the blue color, playing as Poseidon. His name is the Rappel. His opponent today in the red color, battling the odds with that Norse in the last game. He's now on his Greek. He's now on his Hades. He's now on his comfort pick to some degree. I know he's really, really big fan of this god. He's had a lot of success playing with these fast Vaults of Erebus strategies. Gives him a big, big lead early on, and then he can carry that lead through to the mid-game, late game. However, Rappel, early game beast. He's going to be putting the pressure on. He's going to be attempting to take Soup out of his comfort zone and get something happening here. He's dropped that lure early, and generally speaking, when I see an early lure as Poseidon, when I hear an early lure as Poseidon, the thing that I'm thinking as the opponent versus a really, really strong player is they're probably going for a 315. They might go for a 330, but it's probably a 315. Right now, Rappel is proving me wrong. He's going to be dropping a storehouse, so it's not going to be a 315. It's going to be a 330. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's kind of the Mr. style. He loves going for the fast advance. He loves putting the pressure on and trying to make it work. That being said, Soup here, and this build is already in. He is going for the fastest of fast Vaults of Erebus here. He's also put that temple nice and close to the town center, and he's going to be jumping onto those giraffes and making that happen. Relics on the map here. We do have ourselves the skulls of this. I can't say this word. I've got no idea how to say this. I'm going to butcher it right now. Sursopes? Cursopes? I don't know. But this gives you 6 monkeys. Rear's crown on the back here. Very nice. Fast second town center relic there. Go batch of Horus here to deal with those myth units is going to be big. As well as the Osberg wagon here for the late game on those caravans, boosting those up. Sir Soapies. Okay. Sosopes. Sosopes. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyways, homies now coming through here for the Rappel, as the villagers are all going to be pulling back. Temple is up. Temple is cooking. All the good stuff. It's a pretty quick advance time. 3:30 here for Rappel. He's got the villager on the favor. He wants to get that Atalanta out. He wants to get that pressure out. He's got himself an elephant here, so he can sit in this main base on this hunt for a very, very, very long time. And we'll see how things are going to go. Theseus coming through. No surprises there. Does he just go for a relic, or is he going for that pressure? Lots of villagers over onto the golds here for Soup. The big difficulty when playing against Poseidon and going for this early Vaults of Erebus build is just dealing with having no gold, because your opponent just pushes you off over. But it's such a defensive gold mine here, and a wall getting thrown up over here forces the Centaur to come in from this way, and that's still a problem. That being said, it's going to be a fairly early, I would say, Achilles coming out here. Villagers are very safe underneath the town center, and sentinels can get dropped down as well to help defend, as we see a super early winged messenger coming through here for the Rappel, as the Centaur is going to be riding his way across the map. And we'll see how things can go here, as we do have a cheeky little wall coming up onto this position a little bit late. He's not going to be able to finish it versus the Centaur. In fact, he might lose it. It's very much out of position. Using that special... Whoop. The Centaur tries to come through there, sees the wall, and he goes, I'm going to turn it up. No? What's he doing? Where's he going? Minotaur is out. Centaur is going to get sent packing there, as Soup very, very calmly, collectedly holds that. Nobody say anything. Nobody. Don't even blink. I've been wanting this to be tried in a competitive tournament game for a very, very long time. Village center hidden in the corner of the map. Rappel isn't going to be able to spot this. Rappel isn't going to be able to deny this. Rappel's got a Pegasus over here. He sees the gold. He knows that there's a town center somewhere. And he's going to miss it. He's going to the... He's looking for the town center. He can't find it. He doesn't know it's here. He's got no idea. There is a chance that he will spot it through the fog of war. There is a chance. As the Minotaur gets taken out onto this position, army coming forward. Relic gets grabbed over here. Does grab that Osberg wagon. And Zom gets zommed. This is wildly tricky from Soup. He's getting close. He's getting close. He gets spotted. The village center has been spotted. Soup is no longer safe here, but he does get all the food in the world here from that elephant and everything else. So even though it's been spotted, it's not going to be a simple game here for the Rappel. He's moving down to this bottom position. We'll see what he's going to be able to come up with. He's playing 1 town center versus 1.75 town centers. That's what the villager center does. You got a garrison inside it for it to start shooting, and then you can pop back out, no problems. As Watchtowers is up, and Soup now, he's getting himself out, his heroes, and all the other good stuff as the army going to be coming back in. Now, the big weakness to village centers is 1200 HP. You can push in and take a village center down so easily if you have the numbers. So Soup's got to be careful. He's got to get units out. He can't just ignore this and build nothing. He's got to have something here. You do see the Centaur getting sniped down. The monkeys are in. This is going to be a big attack coming in from the Rappel. As the villagers diving in here. Just Still going to be defended nicely. He's also got this wood line here if he needs to. Lots and lots of villagers on the temple. What's the plan? What's the favor for? Villagers pushing forward. You cannot sentinels this. This does not work on village centers. Town centers, citadel centers, fortress-like buildings. No village centers. Rappel is still putting some real solid pressure on here. As the units retreating back. Dive into the town center. You need one villager in there. There's so many hippies here. This could be really, really bad for Soup really, really quickly. There's all the villagers diving into that town center for the time being. One hippias taking these out, and this is what I'm talking about. The village center just gets cleaned in a big way here. Minotaur coming through onto this position here as well, but it's too little too late. The villagers, they're going to have to make a break for it. He doesn't have enough stuff here. He can pop the villagers out and maybe go for a restoration fight with the villagers. As he does pop those out, he has a very, very slight villager lead here. As the villagers are going to make a break for it, and Rappel is not going to be letting them get back home for free. Restoration will get dropped down, trying to path block, but the villagers are managing to slither through here. One villager down, two villagers down, three villagers down. Over on this position, this villager's still sitting idly by, and now the villager pop differential is equal. Hoplight's going to be able to fight this one off. Villager drops into that tower over there to pull back. And Soup, he realizes how far he is behind right now. Oh dear. It was a nice try. I love the village center idea, but in a world with a Pegasus and a scouting Rappel, life is challenging. I mean, if you sneak it all the way around onto your other opponent's side of the base and maybe put it down over here and get it like snuck there, your opponent's not going to be checking this hunt. So you could potentially do a sneaky village center on your opponent's side of the map, but you have to like avoid all line of sight of your opponent. It's really challenging with the Greeks. Nice try from Soup. I like this strategy. Good effort. We'll move on to game number 4 very shortly. Hope you guys are having a good time, and we'll see you in the next one. Game number 3. 2-1. The Rappel on match point. The map is Watering Hole. And we have Rappel going in with Odin. And Soup going in with Loki. You have to excuse me, I just had a little snack. There's a lot of games to cast today and a lot of fun to be had. Nonetheless, we'll see how things are going to wrap up here for the Rappel versus Soup. Soup is on his ultimate comfort pick right now. He has played this matchup. He's played this god quite a bit. And I think I think it would be correct to say that of all the gods that Soup can pilot, this is his best god, Loki. However, Rappel's best god for the longest time was Odin. Now, whether or not he is insane at Odin on Retold or not, that remains to be seen, because Odin plays a little bit differently to on Legacy. But he was a Legacy Odin main. So he knows the ins and outs of this from the Legacy sides of things, but then he still has to sort of switch that brain over to Retold and make it work. Spy coming down onto the villagers here. As Soup going to be charging forward with his Berserk. Looking for all the good stuff. Just seeing exactly what the Rappel's going to be up to. As he sees the back gold mine here. And Soup, I mean, he can go for a rush here. I haven't seen Heimdall rushes working amazingly well in the Norse Mirror. That being said, you can still go Heimdall, but the idea of going Heimdall is undermine the buildings, build yourself an advantage by building more stuff, use your Einherjar on the fight to get yourself an advantage there, and then find a win. But we'll have to wait and see what these guys are going to go for, because there's just so many different choices. I mean, even Rappel can go Heimdall as well, to be honest. Rhea's Crown is here for fast second town centers. Imagine Safeguard, which comes through Heimdall. Get this relic, and suddenly you've got 50% off gold, plus you got 10% and 10% off gold and wood. So it's that will be a big reduction in everything. Relic up here, we've got that adamantine shingles, plus 200% base of HP for houses. Temple coming up in the center of the map here for Soup, so he is opting in to a more aggressive opening. Skulls of the I've already forgot how to say it, guys. Circepe. Scales of the Circepe. Circepes. On the left side, we've got the Eye of Ornlu here. Oh, big relic down there. As we've got Forseti. And we've got Freya. So no crazy Heimdall business. No crazy Heimdall. Look at all these elephants. Imagine your set here. Set player's paradise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elephants. Are you kidding me? Imagine you convert all those. That'd be wild. Nonetheless, to just complete the whole thought process here, for Odin, the hardest part in this matchup is just dealing with Thrown Axemen. Thrown Axemen are so obscenely strong that it might be the idea to just not build your own Thrown Axemen as Odin, on the fact that Soup will get a huge bonus multiplier against infantry for his Thrown Axemen based on his bonus abilities just from being Loki. Oh, the monkeys are in. All right, chalk this game up to a win here for Soup. He's got the monkeys, and that's all that matters. They're pretty strong. 40 HP times 5 plus 5 DPS. That's 25 DPS. Is that how math works? No, 6. That's 30 DPS. Oh, there was 5 in there. There's 6. That's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Longhouse is coming down and a Great Hall. Wow, double Longhouse and a Great Hall. What is Rappel doing? Just one Longhouse and one Great Hall. As the monkeys coming through. And for those of you wondering exactly how this works, 120 seconds after all are killed, you get the monkeys back. So there's not really any point in just leaving them around. The monkey raid. It's coming. Smack. Smack. Smack, smack, smack. I think this gives favor, though, over to the Odin player. It does. So, yeah, he gets a little bit of harassment here, but there is favor coming over as the monkey's still searching, trying to find a village. The village is stuck. The monkeys get draw first blood. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The monkeys. This guy's crazy. Army now for Soup, poking its head in. Got to be careful here. Remember, the Valkyrie is somewhere. It's actually in the main base here for the Rappel, looking for raids. There is a Hearser over here as well. As the villagers start getting targeted down. Forest Fire gets dropped in. No villager kills. Villager's going to be able to get away here as the Hearser comes through. A little bit of a fight coming in. Be careful here. Houses now coming down. There's a little bit of problems. Housing crisis for Soup, but he gets it sorted out nicely there. Retreating back with his own units. Pumping everything else out. Lots and lots of resources in the bank, though. Not exactly sure what he's saving for at the moment. Rappel, on the other hand, great spending for the time being. The main base is the opening. Whenever your opponent goes for a forward base as Norse, it means their main base is not defended very well. And units can just charge forward. And we see with the Valkyrie, raiding cavalry grouping up. There's a low HP villager over here. You can hit the gold over here. And Soup has to pull back. Oh, so much gold in the bank, though. What is he playing? What is he playing? Great Hall's coming down. Villagers, a little bit of an attempt at shanking action as very low HP raiding cavalry gets out there. That'll heal back up to full HP. Do we see an attempted raiding cavalry escape here to join up with that raiding party, but Soup says no. Population differential here is heavily favoring Rappel at the moment. As the army comes through, two very low HP villagers there. Be so careful at the moment if you're Soup. Where are these villagers going? Where are you going, villagers? What are you doing? Oh, now they're idle. Very nice. All right. Soup still waiting along in the middle of the map. We see the raids coming back in. Another dwarf getting sniped down. This raiding here from the Rappel is just getting max value, extracting max value out of minimal units here. I just want to say, like, just send a raiding cavalry back home. Like, you've got so many here. Just send like 3 raiding cavalry back home. 1 raiding cavalry back home. I don't care. Units charging forward. It's very low HP villagers over here. He spots it, and he will be taking that one down. Ursa coming over here. Will be able to snipe down the raiding cavalry. One villager goes down. The Valkyrie retreats back. Soup's still sitting in the front. He's got those monkeys here checking out what's happening. Another great haul going to be coming down there for the Rapple to pump even harder here. Meanwhile, still in the main base. He's on the chickens over here. He's got those rhinos still eating them up. So it just does not have to move at all. As the Valkyrie now finally returning back home. Population differential is very much favoring the Rapple at the moment, but doesn't matter. Great engagement here, getting onto the back line of those throwing axemen as the heavy upgrades do come through in time, but the monkeys here, they're blocking off this left side to help those throwing axemen stay very much alive here. Troll on the back here, very much protected against those Herso to boot. Not really that many Herso though for Soup as he's trying to take this fight. That Valkyrie here is going to be a big problem to deal with, and it looks to me like the Rapple is able to hold here. Valkyrie in this position as well, taking units down there, and now the population flips heavily into the favor of the Rapple, and we have a short game 4, but a game 4 nonetheless, as the Rapple manages to inch out the victory here, ladies and gentlemen. 3-1. Really solid series here. So, I mean, I think maybe the forward base here against the Valkyrie of Odin isn't the way to go, so to speak. You've got such an advantage as Loki that just pushing forward and just pushing forward and trying to fight really early, honestly, it doesn't seem like it works that well against defensive Norse. So just sit in your base, build up an army. You get the stronger army anyways because of those upgrades. Sure, you got less food than your opponent, and we will be noticing that even with the early game villager kill. Sure, you get less food or less resources in general. I think a lot of that is just from the raids there that Soup was suffering. But I think it's a better way to go about it. Maybe if you go for a Heimdall rush and you undermine the buildings and you pressure the food over here, you run in here and you do that as well. That's a way to go, but we didn't see that here. And Rapple gets the dub. Congratulations to Rapple. Hope you guys are enjoying the series, the tournament, the show match, the event so far. And we'll get the next game going very shortly. It's going to be Ulysses versus Tunison. Hope you guys are enjoying. We'll see you in the next one. What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology Retold action. Spawning in the blue color, playing as Loki. His name is Tunison. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Odin. His name is Ulysses. The map is Ghost Lake, and we already see a little bit of the aggressive goat hunting coming through here for Tunison. This is Boit's Backyard Bash number 1. Show match number 3. This is just a little event that I wanted to throw for you guys, just to have a whole bunch of gimmity games to watch on a Sunday. I already did a little bit of a story at the start, but if you missed that one, effectively, back in the day, there was a player, an Uranos player, really strong Uranos player named Army Corps. And he used to run this thing called the Sunday Classic, which was just a lot of fun. He would play a really strong player and build a whole bunch of hype up for it. Lots of flaming going on and like cheeky banter, you know, making it mean something, so to speak. And it was one of the fun things. So trying to carry that tradition on just a little bit here. But we've got Tunison in the left versus Ulysses. Both these guys incredibly strong Age of Mythology players in their own right. Ulysses has been, I think he won the first Age of Mythology Extended Edition tournament. He won Masters of Mythology way back in the day. Yes, the first S-tier Extended Edition tournament. Won that one. And Tunison, obviously, he's been performing really well in tournaments thus far. So has Ulysses in Retold. But we got a new matchup. We actually did see this matchup in the Soup versus Rapple series. Really solid gameplay from both of those guys. But we'll see if Tunison wants to take this a little bit of a different angle. Now, I know that Tunison's Norse is a little bit more on the like control side of things. He's a little bit more of a control man. 15 goats over here too. 5, huge advantage. But Tunison is much more of a control Loki rather than like a pedal to the metal aggressive Loki or a raiding Loki. Of course, he's going to raid, but what I mean by a control Loki is just a Loki that, puts the walls down in the right spots, make sure he doesn't lose the game, make sure he plays really, really solidly. It's kind of a style popularized to some degree by Matrius, who probably the first non-Norse player to really get into Norse in a big way. And take a different stylistic approach to how to play Norse. And he had a lot of success with it. And I think that Tunison was somewhat inspired. Ulysses, on the other hand, he is a raider. He is an aggressive player. He's a multitasker. His APM is through the roof. He's incredibly strong. He's going through Freya. And I'm excited to see what he's going to come up with here against Tunison, who is now going up through 4 city. And you can see he has not pre-queued anything. He wanted that 4:15 advance time. And that's going to be completely fine for him. More houses coming up onto this side. Herser coming through as well. And that's obviously stock standard. It is 1 gold mine Ghost Lake here. And what does that basically mean? It basically means that after that first gold mine expires, you've got to move to a very, very far position to get that second gold mine. And securing that is really, really challenging. So making sure that you're either hitting a timing on your opponent's gold mine or you're hitting a defensive timing, so to speak, on your own gold mine. But we'll see how things are going to go as the players are going to be scouting around, getting all the information out. Up onto this position, we do have Berserk checking out the relics. Pygmalion statue there is really important. A couple of goats coming in onto this spot as well. Up onto this location, Osberg Wagon. Did we already talk about the Staff of Dionysus here with the Villager Regens? Also going to be somewhat useful there as well. Bottom of the map here, we got that Tail of Cerberus. This one's actually really, really big too. 25% off or reduction in the attack recharge time of like a troll. That actually is a huge boost to mass trolls, as the Valkyrie going to be charging forward, looking for a little something to hit here as the troll throws that big boulder and says, get out of here. Can't hit with the small rock, but with the big boulder, he was able to get that headshot. A couple of goats getting stolen away here, but those will not go the wayside of Ulysses in this one, as Tunison is ready with his own Berserk. In the main base, we see some great hauls coming up. Double great hauls to kick this one off. Makes a lot of sense just to get those raids in to kick the game off. You're not really looking for any real big engagements, any big fights, just looking for raids. So starting off with a whole bunch of raiding cavalry, and already going in with medium cavalry. Interesting decision there, as the relic's going to come through here. Pygmalion statue, super good. Longhouse coming up as well in the main base here for Tunison. Great haul. Temple. Longhouse, all of the good things. Another house coming down for Tunison onto that position as the villagers are going to be moving off to the left side of the map here, dropping that ox cart down. There is the Aura, couple of those deers up on this spot. This is a risky move, to be honest. I nearly always get punished by this. Now the Raven here, this is the first time I think I've seen this Raven nerf of line of sight significantly impact a decision that Ulysses can make. He misses this. Now the units are coming up here. We're already seeing walls coming down. It's not that expensive to drop this many walls, but it does cost something. As a Raven now does spot the villagers out here. The troll, a little bit too drunk, can't hit the money there on the baseball throw of the rocks, but Raven going to be hanging out in the corner of the map. As these raiding cavalry from Ulysses charging forward, going to attempt to take out the cavalry of Tunison. He's going to be retreating back for the time being. Does lose one. Nice snipe there. Healing Spring is down. Houses are going to start going down as well. Population differential is pretty close at the moment, but a lot of it is in Herso, which are decent against the raiding cavalry, but Ulysses is going to be having a field day with these units. Meanwhile, over onto this position, we do have a couple of raiding cavalry. Just waiting, just watching, just dreaming. And he's here. Oh! And he's already on the attack path. One other raiding cavalry just going to be leaving as Ulysses turns around, spots this one. Oh, and the raiding cavalry over here also getting caught. Tunison in a bit of trouble here. Throwing Axeman getting caught out on the front as well as the Herser starting to charge forward onto this position. The raiding cavalry now have to retreat back for Ulysses as Tunison, he's defended beautifully. Raiding cavalry on the front here, pulling back as well. As the healing spring, going to get everyone back up to full HP. He's got very nice defensive food over here. He's also got berry bushes, which, while there's only 5 of them, that's very, very decent. He's also got up here the caribou, but going up to that, going to be a little bit challenging. I love the defensive approach here for Loki in this matchup. Odin's got all that early game advantage with all of the really, really strong food economy that he can get in. That's why he can pump so much advantage. But population-wise, Ulysses, he's behind here. So Tunison can probably look to take some fights. So he does need to get himself out. Well, he's already got Hall of Fame. So these Ursa, they're booking it. They're going for something. The wall's up onto this position here. Throw an Axeman out in the middle of the map as well. Ulysses is just checking things out. The walls on these positions all kind of dealt with. As the Hersa sending the throw an Axeman pack and a couple of caribou. Going to start getting sniped down over here as well. As the raiding cavalry decide, well, there's nothing back here, so let me just target this down. But all of Tunison's idle military are going to charge in there as managed to take down all of those caribou. This is just a small amount of food loss on this hunt, but more importantly, I think he gets a little bit of favor from it as well. There's more units charging up onto this position. If you run in, you might get trapped. It's very, very dangerous here to run past it. This is one of those tricks I've seen time and time again, executed beautifully, is you let your opponent in here. You've already run the villagers out, or you run the villagers out, and you just wall him in. So a nice wall down here is setting that up in a big way. I love that play. The way to counter that is to either have your own unit to build something in the middle so the wall can't come back up too easily, or you just leave a unit in there nonetheless, as the army now does manage to come through. Villagers not paying attention here. And he does get that wall clicked back up, and we talked about it, and it's happening. Tunison, great use there. Throwing Axeman, retreating back. Forest Fire has to get dropped down as there's actually no other way out of here. The army is all ready to defend for the time being. It's the Hersa charge forward, get a huge amount of damage done onto that Valkyrie, almost taking it down in one swoop there, but he does manage to do so. The wall's now open and the raiding cavalry can sneak through here. Those throwing Axemen, they're a little bit dangerously placed there, but it does look like Ulysses says, I'm not hanging out here. This is too dangerous. Let me get back home. Great little trick there from Tunison to kick this game off. Doesn't get too much value from it, but Forest Fire off the cards. The walls and the terrifying nature of what Tunison is, Ulysses now understands. He's going to be retreating back up onto this position here. But where else can he go? He's got to get some raids in. These villages here are very much open to getting attacked. There's really not that many infantry units in just yet for Ulysses, but he's got to be careful because there's going to be myth unit spawns. So he's got those Hersa out. I want to see him get that upgrade Cess Rumnir when the time comes. A couple more military buildings coming down. No armory and markets there, as Longhouse, double Longhouse is now down for Tunison. And this is what I mean. Tunison, he's so good at this. Military buildings coming down at the right time. He knows he needs to have more at the next point in the game. If he takes a fight coming up, we see Skadi wanting to come through here for Ulysses. A little bit short on the food, but he will be able to advance there. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Tunison, he's quite far away from this. As he's starting to move forward. Raiding cavalry will be spotting this, but this is advantage Tunison right now as Skadi is coming through. Raiding cavalry here, no armory upgrades for the time being, and Tunison, he's got to make something happen. This is a huge investment into Skadi, into copper weapons, into copper mail here. No armory up just yet for Tunison. As I mean, his only real option here is try and get to the next age. Dwarves up onto this position. The Ravens are going to spot this, but there's a really easy retreat path here on that gate. So long as he's paying attention, he's going to be able to pull back. But the raid coming through, and as the army is moving to the right of the map here, picks off one dwarf, picks off two dwarves. Does he get the third one? No. The walls will go down. The army now charging forward. Villagers here for Ulysses now pulling back. As Ulysses does get a little bit of damage here, does block off the villagers. The villagers are going to pull back behind his own wall. He does have a goat back here. That's not going to be that useful. The wall's going to get bashed down. The gold mine is now open as a couple of units going to be returning back over onto this position here. Tunison needs to send some units through. Skadi is about to hit. The throw and axe from getting the damage done. More raiding cavalry in the queue for Tunison, but he is now in very much a big trouble time. He's got the population advantage, but Frost is here. And I mean, do you cast Frost at the moment? I don't know. Iron respawn. That's big. Blow that horn, and the army just goes absolutely berserk there, chasing after those raiding cavalry. Not able to catch them just yet. The dwarves back onto this gold mine for the time being, as the army now pushing forward. Tunison says it's time to go. I do not care about your frost. Going to break down these walls, as well as the raiding cavalry still trying to poke back in. I love this delay from Ulysses. He's trying to get everything out, everything spent. 22 villagers on gold on this position, so the Herso peel off to start getting that damage done onto this position. Small skirmishes from Ulysses to find a little bit of an advantage back into this one, as the trolls coming through. Frost comes down. The Herso, however, have not been caught in the frost. And Tunison, he's just going to retreat away with those bad boys. The Thrown Axemen can't chase them down. The raiding cavalry, however, very much can. Walls attempting to come up here to keep Tunison locked in onto this position. But we don't see any tech coming through just yet for Ulysses. We don't have the population and military advantage, and he's got to deal with myth unit spawns coming through as well, as the Herso up on this top position, still getting chased down, going to be losing a handful. We do see a Draugr spawn there. In fact, he does lose all of them, as he's not paying attention to that one. Onto this gold mine as well for the time being here. Villagers in the main base grabbing a whole bunch of gold. We see some berserks coming forward. I'm not sure if those were converted or not. I think they were. Trying to charge forward here for Tunison. A little bit of a risky move, but we'll see how the fight goes, as the army needs to start fighting. It's not doing it. There's the Ironry now finally getting that boost in. Is this going to be enough? The population is still no, the population is not standing strong. Drops incredibly fast here, as the berserks coming in from the other side to take out some more units. More berserks coming in to help out, as the army from Ulysses is looking absolutely class here. And in that moment, we get ourselves a freeze, as I'm not sure why, but I'm not able to finish this game. I'm pretty sure Tunison has tapped out here. It's advantage Ulysses in every single way, shape, form. He's got the villager lead, he's got the army lead. And I imagine that all of those berserks here, which are propping up that population, are going to get dominated. We take a quick look at the army count as well. There's a couple of Herso and a Goaty to take out that troll. It already has the Herso on the troll as well. So I think we may have found ourselves a victory here for Ulysses for game number 1. I'll just check it with the players. They might be still playing on. Not sure what's happening, but there is no way to continue along in this game, unfortunately. GG, well played. We'll keep going. Alrighty, game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color. Now playing as Isis, his name is Tunison. The right side of the map, in the red color, playing as Kronos, his name is Ulysses. Unfortunately, that past game, we did have a little cheeky freeze towards the end of it. Really, nothing you can do to stop that, to fix that. I'm not going to go back and watch the recorded game and try and figure out what happened. It just takes too long, because you can't skip through the recorded game either. So map Midgard into game number 2. Ulysses here, he's up 1-0, taking that first win. So we'll see how things are going to go here. I like the Kronos pick on this map. It's really, really fun here to try and take out the Isis. But, you know, Isis has been almost a classic pick on this map for the longest time. It's not Anatolia, but for time and time again, whenever you give players free god choice, you often see the Isis getting picked and all of the good stuff coming where that's concerned. It is a best of 5, yes. So fishing ships coming through, a little bit of the water shenanigans on this map as well. Honestly, it's not the most important it's not the most important of resources in Retold in the early game. It matters in the mid game. And one thing that I think is a really great idea here, just for Midgard, I've been talking with some top players about these sorts of maps, and they say that there's some fish bugs, but in all honesty, the fish is, generally speaking, fair in one way or another. Like, you might be like, oh, it's unfair that it's all down the bottom. Yeah, but it's all down the bottom for both players. You know what I mean? So you've got to scout. And one thing here we're seeing from Ulysses is Not really the scouting that I wanted. I thought maybe send an oracle off to the side and just get that information about what's happening on the fish. And then you can start thinking about where you're going to time shift your docks to and make that work. On the left side here for Tunison, get that priest and just put some obelisks down onto the sides of the water and you get to know exactly what's happening. Alternatively, take a fishing ship and literally just scout with it. Literally just scout with it. We're seeing Tunison do that to some degree, and you just pop out onto both sides and you see where is the fish. We're also seeing the same thing here for Ulysses up onto that side. He's sending fish out onto both sides over here. Both players very, very fast secondary fish, which, you know, favors one player over the other to some degree, but you can play around that in a way. Ulysses here is opting for a faster advance time, so he's not going to be playing around that. But he will be able to drop a dock down over here relatively soon, I'm sure. Nonetheless, all the good things are ahead of us.
Bullreg.
As Ulysses walking forward, Tunison looking for a dock relatively soon. He's going for a sort of late advance time. Not exactly. Wait, what is he doing? Hello? Tunison. He's looking for a dock, but he's not gathering any gold. He's getting his temple up. I'm going to be seeing Ulysses motoring ahead in this game. He's going for Leto? Leto, the god of choice. I don't hate it. I actually kind of like it. The idea is, right, against Kronos, you can't really run underneath the town center with the Prometheans because it just gets taken down so quickly because they don't have very high pierce armor. But the automatons, they have high pierce armor. They're really strong. We see a monument to the villagers trying to get raced up here from Tunison to defend this one. Let's see if he can get it up in time. It's got 5 seconds roughly remaining. And I don't even think he's going to care about this because all he's going to do is walk in with those automatons, get serious damage done. We do have Bastion. It's going to be around about 40 seconds of beating down on this gold mine. It's really going to be a challenging position here for Tunison to be in. He does have his house wall up. As the automatons are going to start coming through. You can get a second automaton, or a third automaton, excuse me, coming through. One of the big bonuses of Kronos, for those of you who do not know, is that you get 2 myth units to kick the game off as he's going after these houses here. And we also see a spider. I'm surprised to see this. Just wander around and then just attack the villages. And the house is going to get repaired back up. This is a pretty interesting decision. We've got that volcanic forge coming in very, very early on here. Human soldiers, heroes, automatons getting a little bit of bonus damage. We've also got the Hephaestus Revenge coming through for the automaton there, as well as a villager does get spotted here, and that's going to go down here in all honesty as the Sphinx comes through. First blood is drawn. Sphinx is out. That's going to be looking for some blood on the other side of the map here. We've got a couple of counter barracks coming up as the classic double counter barracks opening. Hero Terma is in. He's got to track down that Sphinx there. Moving up onto this position, the priest over here. That's not going to be enough to take down those automatons as that one gets cleaned up as well. Meanwhile, down the bottom, we've got more docks coming down. No real attempt from Ulysses to deal with that one as the Sphinx is now swinging down around the bottom of the map looking for a raid. The villages are very much defended beautifully for the time being here with houses as we see an economic guild coming down onto this position. The Terma hero is in, and that's going to send that Sphinx packing him. You just can't get anything done with the Terma. With the Terma hero being there, it just does too much damage. Maybe you can get in and get a little whirlwind, but eventually it's going to fall. As the army now charging forward, a market coming down now for Tunison. Is he going for a fast heroic here behind this? I don't hate the idea, but it does play into Ulysses' game plan of Terma and automatons here. Nephthys is queued up. He's getting himself some of those chickens over here. Another cheeky little god power getting thrown down somewhere. I'm not sure where he put it, but oh, there it is, right in front of my face. As the villagers here going to get shot down by those Terma. Ulysses pushing forward. Priest coming through here to try and get a little bit of damage done from over the over yonder. But the priest, I mean, it's got such low range in the classical age. Such low range. Very low HP villager here can get healed back up. As the opening is now in, low HP villager gets taken down. Nice play there from Ulysses as Tunison. He still hasn't managed to click up to the next stage. It's 75 seconds away once he clicks it up. It's a long, long time on the water. We haven't seen anything just yet cooking as more houses getting taken down. That's going to hurt, but not that big of a deal. And you just look at these automatons. They've got 64% pierce armor. Are you kidding me? They literally just walk onto this position and say, I do not care. As the Pharaoh getting targeted down, it does manage to garrison into the tower here, but pushed off of the food. It's a lot of idle villagers. 7 idols plus the Pharaoh and 2 priests. That's huge here. Ulysses is very quickly moving away to a very strong position. Snipes the Pharaoh as well. That's gigantic. The tower on this position about to go down as the priest swinging up over here. As they will be able to deal with these automaton, but not the Terma. As what do you do? Do you move out of your base and try and sneak a gold mine? I don't think that's a great idea. If we take a look at the line of sight, you see a lot of oracles all over the place. The one in the middle here hasn't checked this out, but there's going to be Terma roaming forward there. Tunison has found himself in a terrifying position right now as the priests will all heal themselves back up. I mean, there's a market there to sell food if he needs to. He can also get himself that per scene technology for the fish to boost his food income even more. The villagers are on this position and the Terma, they've spotted them. They are coming through and the villagers, they have to retreat all the way back home. So yet again, causing idle time, causing destruction, causing pain. So many automatons out right now for Ulysses at the moment. Hero Terma coming through. Got a Migdol stronghold now up in the main base here. There's a whole bunch of Hero Terma now starting to come forward as well. That per scene will come through. But that's gold that he just does not have to spend here. Yes, you can just sell food. That's fine. But then what? You have to deal with automaton and Terma. So what do you want to build? Priest, costing 100 gold. Camel Riders, costing 70 gold. How are you going to afford this? Ancestor Eclipse is available as an option here for Tunison, but Ulysses is seemingly all over him at the moment. As the Scorpion Men charging forward here, automatons turning around, trying to get in onto this one as well. As the houses are going to get taken down on the back, villagers moving forward for the time being here. As the Terma turning around, they see the villagers back over here. Going to be a little bit of a shanking action. I mean, you can't even put a Migdol down because there's still deconstruction for free here. As Hero Terma just constantly getting converted for Ulysses at the moment. He is just full send on the Terma. Terma Automaton. I mean, we've talked about this being a real strong strategy for a very, very long time, but we very rarely get to be treated to it as the army here for Tunison manages to push back with the help of Ancestor Eclipse. He's got that center gold mine. Prosperity gets dropped down during this one as the Terma get pushed back onto this side. Does run them over those spider eggs, so getting some value where that's concerned. You can easily just turn around with the automatons as well. Yes, there's some priests on the back, but I mean, surely you want to just snipe the Scorpion Men with your heroes. You could also drop another spider lair and run over that if you so chooses. Meanwhile, onto this position, the Ancestors still chasing down Terma at the moment. The Terma, they actually have more speed, I think. Yeah, 6.1. They got more speed than those minions, but they're running at the speed of the Catapulti, so they're getting value where that's concerned. 10 seconds left of the Ancestors, and as soon as that's over, he's going to be returning straight back onto this gold mine. So what do? Double Migdol right now and attempt to hold. One Migdol with a monument and try and keep the monument alive. Why do any of that when you can just click up through Osiris? Why do any of that, he says? Osiris is the god of choice. Another Migdol stronghold, 2 Migdol. Okay, never mind. He wants it, but he realizes he can't get it. Is this too little too late, though? The army is in position right now. One Migdol going to be coming through. This one on the front's going to get denied, and the one on the back is going to get denied as well, as there's the deconstruction. The Pharaoh charging forward. The priests not microing onto those automatons at all here. The Catapult is able to completely clean those Camel Riders, or at least push them out of the fight there. The Migdol does end up finishing up here, but I mean, those Automatons, they pack a punch. And in that moment, Tunison has to tap out. Ulysses gets the win. Ulysses is off to an incredibly fast 2-0 lead in this best of 5 series. Tunison, that one did not go his wayside at all in this game. He got picked onto this position, the Leto opening on this map, pushing in. He just completely ignored it. I think he needed like 5-6 priests out just to hold the early game, and maybe a barracks to get some slingers out or something before going heroic age, because getting pushed off your home gold mine here, that's nightmare status, and Ulysses made him pay for it. I mean, you just see the story here in gold income. It's just nowhere to be seen. Look at this. He's doing good. He's doing good. He's got 0. He's got 0. He's got 0. That's the longest time for 0 gold ever. Nonetheless, Ulysses takes the win. We'll move on to game number 3 very, very shortly. Hope you guys are having a fun time. If you are, make sure you hit that follow button. And also, if you're really feeling special, grab that subscription, and we'll move on to the next game. What is going on, everyone? It is game number 3. Tunison's back up against the wall in the right side of the map in the blue color, playing as Oranos. It is the man currently down 2-0 in this best of 5 series. Ulysses here. He says, come at me, Tunison. Bring it. I'm going in with the Thor. It's game number 3. It's Boit's Backyard Bash. $150 on the line here in this one for these 2 players. Some incredibly solid Age of Mythology to be coming here. In the bottom of the map, we do have that Scarab Pendant. Whole bunch of crush damage to come through on this position over here. Anvil of Hephaestus with the minus 50% of the gold. This technology is so insane. I actually think if, for whatever reason, you knew this was here as the Thor, it would be in your best interest to go for a 315 advance, grab the relic while you're doing it, then drop an armory, and then get your gold villagers out, or something like that. Nonetheless, more relics on the map. We've got ourselves the Blanket of Empress Zoe, a little bit of a crush vulnerability reduction there. On this position, we've also got the Canopic Jar of Imseti, 25% reduction of the train time of infantry there. And man, you guys are being incredibly kind today. Thank you so much for the gifted subs and all of the support today. It's been an incredibly fun day thus far, and the fun is only just beginning. We've still got the free-for-all to be coming after this series. Nonetheless, moving forward here, what are we going to see in this matchup? Now, a lot of players here feel like they can basically just go pure berserk in this matchup, but you've got to be careful, because if the Oranos player techs in to enough oracles, he can mix in enough Prometheans that you need to get Herser. So in a way, you almost have to go pure berserk Herser to make this work. Very, very challenging situation to be in for both players, in all honesty. Lots of adapting, lots of decision making. We'll see which way Ulysses is going to go for. He's got himself that early copper mail. He's going for the copper shields second. And he's going to be making his way through all of that. On the other side of the map here, Tunison just getting himself up the temples, and nothing too special here. No early sky passage or anything else at this moment. Just kind of playing it pretty stock standard here to kick the game off. It's going to be a relatively delayed advance time. He's going through Oceanus here. A great counter to those berserks is going to be pure Oceanus Murmillo. Bite of the Shark Murmillo. We're not going to be seeing the Prometheans, but why go Prometheans when you can just go for Bite of the Shark Murmillo, Shockwave, and Carnivora with the help of those Caladria to heal everything else up and have yourself a really, really good game, is what Tunison is saying here. Meanwhile, Temple coming up onto this position over here. Dwarves going to be gathering all of the good stuff on this position on the left side of the map. To have that ox cart going to be coming down over here as well. And we'll see how things will shape up moving forward here. A couple couple more dwarfs just coming out. Got that 4 SETI on the way. No surprises there. You get access to a couple of really good technologies in Mithril Breastplate and Hall of Thanes for your infantry units. And it can be a really, really big help. Meanwhile, in the main base, military barracks, double military barracks. Double military barracks. No surprises there, and a sky passage. It's already got a sky passage out onto this other position. Going to be able to eat those hyena while he waits for his villagers to run through here. And after he gets those military barracks up, he can actually take a lot of the villagers off of wood. Still has a lot of gold in the bank to pump out those Murmillo, and just puts everyone else over onto this position. Ulysses at the moment, this is the problem with playing Norse. You just got no idea where to go. Where do you attack? What do you do? What is your opponent doing? You don't know. The Caladria comes through and says, hello there. What's happening? And Ulysses here, he still hasn't hit the next age. And Tunison is already going to be enjoying elephants and all the other good stuff. How cool is this animation? I don't think I've seen the sky passage in a hot minute. How cool is this animation right now? Looks good. I don't know what it means, but it looks sick. Nonetheless, Murmillo going to start coming through. And Tunison is effectively looking for, I don't know, kind of just massing up enough of those Murmillo that he can kind of just compete with the strength of what Ulysses is going to be doing. And to me, Ulysses looks like he's going for straight berserks at the moment. He hasn't got himself the upgrade here in his armor just yet for that mithril breastplate, but it's going to be berserks. I don't see anything else. Tunison with the biggest brain sky passages in the world. He just sends this villager all the way up here, and that's going to allow him to not only get back and defend over here, but also raid immediately. Watchtowers are up. Ulysses is just like, we're just playing a defensive game here. I don't need to do anything. And he's kind of right, but his gold mine's about to expire. He's probably going to have to utilize Dwarven Mine in the Classical Age. Now, if you get Dwarven Mine into the Heroic Age, Mythic Age, Wonder Age, you get so much more gold for it. So we'll see how things go. As the Murmillo just spreading out across the map, scouting what they can, trying to find somewhere to attack. At this point, there's just nowhere, as we've got that Bite of the Shark coming through, that terrifying one there. It gives so much divine damage over to those bad boys, those Murmillo here. As the Berserks swinging through here. And I mean, here's the thing. He can literally just pull the Murmillo into this sky passage and just live the dream in here and pop out over here and be completely fine. But the Berserk's going to look for a little bit of damage here, but already in a defensive position. The Caladria will be using that pacify ability, but it's a little bit challenging to catch up to that Berserk. He's going to also speed up, catch up to the formation, and nothing's going to be happening where that's concerned. But meanwhile, still Berserks. Finally, a throwing axeman here. And he does have himself that mithril breastplate. And look at the armor. 53%. These Berserks pack a punch. But so too do the Tunison Murmillo, as he has decided he wants to go Hyperion. He's still producing ever so slightly the Murmillo at the moment. But one thing that I'm worried for here is when Hyperion hits, the weakness of these Berserks. You see that 53% hack armor? They've only got 19% pierce armor. The weakness is Satyr. It's Satyr, it's Satyr, it's Satyr. All you got to do is get like 3 or 4 of them out, and it's really, really good. The problem for Tunison, though, is where are his oracles? He's only got 3. His oracle income here is only 12 per minute, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be able to get out a lot of myth units for it. But if he gets an extra one or an extra 2, then that suddenly goes up to 16 favor a minute, up to 20 favor a minute, 24 favor a minute. It can be really, really big. Nonetheless, Healing Spring down, units, villages on the hunt in the middle of the map. Dwarven Gold Mine has been cast. He's going to have to move out to a second position here very, very shortly. Meanwhile, in the main base, Tunison, he's getting his market set up. I'm surprised to see him go market here and not armory. He needs to get that in order to like get his armory through, right? Maybe he doesn't want it and he just wants to go straight into heavy infantry. Nonetheless, he pokes forward, going to be retreating back away from here. He doesn't want to give away that there's a sky passage on this position, but he will be. All the villagers will have to retreat back. This Oracle going to be making a break for it as well. 1 attack, 2 attack, and it's away. The citizens onto this position, they need to retreat back as well, as the Murmillo popping out, getting some good value over here before they pop back in. And now the sky passage. Oh, it's not done. He's playing with fire right now. Does lose his Oracle for it. I mean, what you don't want to be hanging out onto this position, do you? As now Tunison, he's lost his sky passage over here. He's lost his sky passage on the front. Ulysses is finding a good timing here to put pressure on. But Tunison, and not only that, he's down to 1 Oracle. This is a really, really challenging position right now. He wanted this position to have for those satyr. Yes, he can build 1, nearly 2, but. And this is going to be a tough one for him to like make an advantage, cook an advantage here. And now we also see the dwarves out onto this gold mine. As the Murmillo get just a little bit of damage done. And I imagine we're going to see immediate heavy infantry here for Tunison. He's getting himself that Satyr Gemini technology. Nope, more Satyr is the option. As the Berserk's charging forward here, Villager's going to dive into the tower over here. Citizen has to dive back as well. We'll be able to get home, no problems. Dives into that manor. Villager's going to finish up this military barracks over here. Whole bunch more Murmillo are getting created here. Still not going for that heavy infantry tech, as Bragi is now queued up. And this changes quite a lot. The fact that Ulysses gets to Bragi means he gets flaming weapons, means what do you do with the curse? You have to hold the curse. You can't use it until flaming weapons kicks in. And then when flaming weapons kicks in, you can use it as a defensive resource to have his opponent, who's doing double damage, effectively, attacking himself instead of you. Nonetheless, Murmillo charging forward. More units coming in here for Ulysses. He's got such an army. And this is the challenge. I mean, yes, you've got Carnivore. Yes, you've got Shockwave. Yes, you've got Chaos. But, I mean, do you want to use it? That's the question. You're going to have to retreat back for the moment here. Ulysses pushing forward. He does not need to do anything. He's completely fine just massing up the full population. I see this time and time again from Norse players. Just don't, if you go Bragi, just don't use flaming weapons. Don't take a fight unless you absolutely need to. If you do, obviously take it, but don't take any fights. Wait for full pop, then click flaming weapons and win the game. Anything less than that, and you kind of give yourself a little bit of trouble there. As Tunison tries to push forward. He's got double satyrs in. Do they have Gemini? They do not. He's now coming through. It's just about to clock in for him as a couple more units are going to be coming through. But there's the heroic age in for Ulysses as Tunison turns around. He has not done the damage. He's not done anything at this point in the game. As you got to wait on now the satyr special ability if you want to take this fight. As he's still poking, he's very far behind. The population is now full for Ulysses. Ulysses is in a ridiculous position. He just needs that heavy infantry. He's also getting that Hall of Thanes tech. Ulysses' position is insane. As the Berserk's charging forward, Val and Caladria are going to be moving around. We see the Carnivora getting dropped down immediately onto those throw and axemen. No shockwave just yet. You want to be using that onto those throw and axemen. Does manage to do so. Population here, it's looking like it's decent for the moment for Ulysses. Tunison's army is holding strong though, as the population is plummeting. It could be time to drop that chaos right now onto the remainder of those units. The Herso charging forward, but the Arcus are going to be able to deal with that very, very easily. Population, after all is said and done, is well and truly in Ulysses' hands, as we see the end of the fight drops the chaos down to get a little bit of damage done, but in the end there, it's not enough. And a short series, but a series nonetheless, as Ulysses does manage to take it in 3 games, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the story here. Insanely well played here by Ulysses. I mean, this was just a dominating performance. I don't think I've seen this out of Ulysses in Retold thus far. He's been playing really good, don't get me wrong, but this is like the Ulysses of old, which is when he was like dominating everyone. He's just like has the control down. He has the game plan down. He just knows how to play. This is what it felt like. It just like control was out of this world. Macro was perfect. Decision making was there. Strategy was there. Tunison, on the other hand, I mean, he goes for this really strong Murmillo idea. I loved this sky passage up the top, but he needs to hide this. He can't be running up here and giving this away because this is access to this gold mine, which is everything. He needs to get villager damage. He needs to get economic damage done. And I think the problem here is maybe as the Urano seat, you have to take a fight you don't really want to take because that forces your opponent out onto the map and allows you to start utilizing raids and all the other good stuff. And going through Oceanus, I mean, it doesn't really work that way. You can't really take those fights you don't want to take. I really think the Prometheus is the way to go here. Get those Prometheans out there, better than the Murmillo in many different ways. And you can get Murmillo out as well to deal with Herser and all the other good stuff that comes from that. And you can find some really, really good fights and good games, especially when your opponent is going for these mass berserks. It just doesn't work so well if there's a whole bunch of meat shields there on the Prometheans. Nonetheless, a short series, but a series nonetheless. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit the follow button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.